Good morning, my teaserking family. How is everybody today? We'll go through the line and we'll go through the injury report. I just went through them. The only thing I saw was the UCF quarterback Plumlee is probable, and that definitely makes a big difference in that game. He is a very good. He's a good runner, and they score a lot of points with him. And we know Kansas is a pretty good offense normally. Although their quarterback Daniels is out being their backup's good, so we don't mind. So let's start with that. Now, if you're watching, hey G, how are you today? I mean, if you're watching and you have a question, I got an email yesterday who's looking for the college. And on Thursday, I didn't really go through. I just went through Thursday's games, not the whole thing. I had done that on Wednesday. Just ask the comment. That's the point of the comments. Just ask, like G just did, and say, are we going over college today? And then I can say yes or I can say no. But I had said that we were just going through Thursdays, but he must have missed that. But anyway, no problem. Send an email with questions or comments or a specific game. All right, so let's go through today with the refresh. So I've checked injuries, but we'll check them again, but I've got what I need. It starts with Toledo, 19.5, 56.5. Really not much change from yesterday's line. They play UMass. Army, 2.5. Down from 3, 48.5. So if you're thinking of playing Army, now you get 3.5, which is more than a field goal against BC. And BC has been scoring a lot this year. So might be an over game. We'll see. It's hard to figure Army, but they have changed offenses. Bobby, your LSU, 5.5, 64.5. I don't think that's changed. No, it hasn't. Really, the question is who's Missouri? We'll find out, I guess, but we know LSU can score and doesn't have a defense. So I'd be going over more than trying to pick LSU to win every game. Texas is down to 4.5, 60.5. I guess they heard on my free picks Oklahoma, and everybody's jumping on the bandwagon. It's the noon game, so it's down to 4.5. As I said, the free picks Alabama in a revenge game. I think they're the better team. Yeah, Texas won at Alabama. We give them full credit for that. But we don't know how good Alabama is this year, as Alex has pointed out. So we've got 4.5. I'd still take Oklahoma, and 10.5. I still think this should be a very close game. You know, I don't care if Texas wins. I've got 12.5, which is, see, now you can see why I gave you the free pick, 3 days ago, and now it's gone down to 4.5. So the idea is when I'm giving you the free picks like that, bet it then, because I know where the spread's going. I know in every game, every pro game, every college game, where it's going. It's now down to 4.5. So hopefully the 10.5 won't hurt you, but definitely Oklahoma will come for blood. But it's like the Ohio State game. Michigan still beat them last year, but we had the revenge on our side. I think Oklahoma is a much stronger defensive team this year. So look for this 24-21-ish type of game, 27-24, maybe 30-27. Ohio State down to 17.5 against Maryland, and over under 57. That hasn't changed. So Ohio State was 20 and now 17.5. So it's a lot of Maryland looks good against crap teams. Ohio State has struggled. The quarterback really isn't that good. So this should be an interesting game. Over under. I don't even know. I don't know who Ohio State is, so I can't say. Normally, just play them over. They got a good offense and no defense. This year, They seem to have a good defense and no offense. So we will see. Again, that's a noon game. Let's keep going. Wisconsin 12.5, 44. That's also a noon game against Rutgers. And Mississippi State 21.5, 54. That spreads up from 20. And it's 56 down to 54. So the Sharps are betting Mississippi State in the under. I don't know why I would bet under on this game. This is an over game. Western is an over team. So Mississippi State should be able to score a lot, and Western should be able to score. Mississippi State doesn't have that great a defense. So I'm kind of surprised by the number going down. I'm not aware of an injury. I just checked, but we'll double check Western Michigan. Virginia, no, that's scared. And that's it for the noon games. So the noon games, we have Toledo and UMass. We've got Army, BC, LSU, Missouri, Texas, Oklahoma, Maryland, Ohio State, and Wisconsin, Rutgers, and Western, and Old Mississippi State. And that's it. So it's kind of rough because, last week it was USC and Colorado playing at noon. Well, for USC, it's 9 a.m. It's fucking ridiculous to have those games. It's so unfair to the West Coast to go, play at 9. LSU, I think they're probably, it's probably 11 o'clock for them. Texas, Oklahoma, it's probably 11 o'clock for them, not really noon. All right, so let's move on. 2 o'clock games, and then we'll just go down the list. So NC State 6.5, 43.5. Not much change there. UTSA top. UTSA 13.5, 54.5. Temple sucks. Frank Harris supposed to be back for UTSA. He's probable with the toe. Should help, but they're not the same as last year. So we will see. They're a very good team normally. So let's see with Frank Harris back. Central Michigan 3, 51.5 to Buffalo. Okay. UCLA 3.5, 60.5 to Washington State. That really hasn't moved. That'll be a very good game. We'll see. Washington State's beat 2 good teams at home, as our Washington State guy has pointed out. Hey, MVP, good morning to you. So this should be a real good game. UCLA, the freshman quarterback, they seem to have a strong defense. But then after we look at Coastal Carolina and they held them, then we're seeing they're not really doing a lot with the new coach. I looked at McCall's numbers. He was like 4 touchdowns and 4 picks or 6, something like that. The problem, you change the coach, you change the coordinator, and you fuck the quarterback up like you did with Van Dyke last year. This year, Van Dyke's got like 20 touchdowns, where last year I think he had 10 in total because they brought in a bad offensive coordinator, the guy from Michigan who sucked. So better offense coordinator. So you almost wanted, where does Gaddis go? And that's that. And you bet against that team. I mean, it's crazy, but the coordinators, everybody jumps ship, and it takes 3-4 weeks to really, okay, Coastal Carolina's not that good, even though I have McCall. Notre Dame with Hartman, I thought would be scoring more. It's scoring in the 30s, but I thought they'd be in the 50s with Hartman. Anyway, interesting game, UCLA, Washington State. North Carolina, 9.5, 59 to Syracuse. That hasn't moved. Interesting game here. Syracuse has been scoring a lot. Lost a lot of fumbles to Clemson. I think this should be a close game. I don't buy North Carolina 10 points better than Syracuse. Clemson 20.5, 52.5 to Wake. Hasn't moved. Let's see. Clemson's been playing well, even though they got 2 losses. This is really a must-win for Clemson, but I don't know if they really can do anything with 2 losses. I'll tell you, though, I like Duke. That Duke team, really tough. That is a nice sleeper for us because they're not going to get spreaded to, if they're laying 7, they should be laying 10. If they're laying 3, they should be laying 7. But they're not Notre Dame or Alabama. They're Duke. So we'll definitely get some steals on them. Florida State 23.5, 52.5 against VTech. This should be a blowout, I would think, at home. Keep going. Your number, really, they're a top 3 team, top 4 team. I don't know who's better than them. I mean, Georgia and Notre Dame, I thought, and then Utah. They're both very strong teams, Notre Dame and Utah. And I don't buy Ohio State, even though they beat Notre Dame. Michigan looks strong. Oregon and Washington look very strong. Utah, if they get Rising back, is right there. That's another topic, the Rising topic. All right, Navy 6.5, 61.5. Navy. The fuck's Navy? Okay, that line hasn't moved. North Texas is a very explosive team, and Navy's not scoring a lot, but their defense is. This could get high scoring. 61. It's hard in a Navy game. 61. I think they'll try to run to keep the North Texas offense off the field because they have a strong offense. So we'll see. Then we come to the max, all the 42s. Northern Illinois, 4.5, 42 against Akron. The Akron quarterback's out irons. Eastern, 2.5, 42.5. Ball State's the Z team there. Bowling Green, Miami of Ohio, 8.5, 48.5, down from 9.5, which is good for a teaser. Miami of Ohio is a B team. They're not bad. Bowling Green's an E team, so they're an even team. 8.5, 44.5. That's a pretty low total for this game, I think. Ohio 24.5, 45 to Kent. Kent is a Z team and terrible this year. Iowa 1.5, 38.5 to Purdue. Again, McNamara, the Michigan quarterback, who's now the Iowa quarterback, is out with the broken legs. So 38.5 is so low in a Purdue game. I think Purdue's a live dog here. I think Iowa, without the quarterback, all they're going to do is run the ball. Their backup isn't that good. Purdue, doesn't have a good defense, but they should be able to score on Iowa. I mean, Penn State beat Iowa 31-0, right? So it's not like Iowa shuts everybody out. So I think Purdue could be a play there. Air Alabama, here you go, 2.5, 46.5. So this went down to 1.5. I don't know why, and now it's back to 2.5. A&M's quarterback's out. They're using the backup. The backup played last week against Arkansas. Didn't look too bad. Alabama's got Milrose. That's all they got. And he can't throw to save his life, but he can run. And I think that's what they'll do is run and play defense. This probably will be a low-scoring game because I think Alabama realizes that they don't have a quarterback, and the only way they can win it is to run. Saban won't want to do what he did in the Texas game where he starts off with interceptions, right? And those are the interceptions, and they get buried by Texas. So I don't think he'll want to do that. I think he'll going to run the ball. He's on the road, and he's going to play his defense. And I think that this probably looks like a low-scoring game versus them always having the strong offense and actually a weaker defense. So this year's defense looked really good against Ole Miss. They couldn't even get a first down. And then Ole Miss puts up 55 on LSU, and it's like, well, where the fuck was that against Alabama? So give Alabama credit for their defense. Give Saban credit for – he's like Putin. He's a smart guy. You don't like him, but he's a smart guy. So Putin buys gold. So we respect Putin. and Saban here. I think this is a very I think they'll shut down. They'll play to shut down A&M, and the backup quarterback hasn't seen. He's just going to blitz them to death. So this is probably low scoring. Roll Tide's all I can say. All right, Texas State, Lou Lafayette. This should be a very high scoring game. Where the hell is it? Texas State. Okay. 2.5, 67.5. That's where it's been. You can see it's a high scoring game with the total of 67.5. Lou Lafayette's quarterback is out, Woolridge. I would think Texas State's a live dog in this game. Texas State beat Baylor, right? Lou Lafayette lost their quarterback. Now they have the backup. He's okay. But I think Texas State, when you beat Baylor, this is going to be no problem. Roll Tide. As much as I hate to say that, they can't afford to lose. Right? They've lost their game. And for Alabama, they can't lose two. If they lose two, they're gone because Georgia ain't going to lose. So Ohio State, Michigan, somebody wins. So that's somebody with 0 or 1 losses. And then you've got Washington, Oregon, Washington State, Utah. Forget USC. They're not going to run the table with that defense. I mean, they play Oregon or Washington. Do they play Oregon? Let me see. That's a good question. Oregon. Yeah, November 11th. Oregon's at home to USC. That ends USC's hopes right there. Forget about it. And then Oregon's got to play Oregon State, which will be a tough game for them. So USC ends at Oregon. They're not going to win that game. A good defense shuts a good offense down. And Oregon, they fucking killed Colorado, so we'll take it from there. UCF 1.5, 63.5. Kansas was favored. Plumlee, the quarterback from Ole Miss, who is UCF's quarterback, was hurt. He was out. Backup looked pretty good. He's back. He runs all over the place. Kansas will have a hard time stopping him running. Kansas's quarterback's out, Daniels, but I don't care. I like Bean better. He played a lot last year, and he was fine. I'd rather have Bean in there than Daniels. He's a better quarterback, a better thrower. I could see this game. You can go down to 57.5. I don't see any problem with that. As long as Plumlee, because Plumlee will get you a lot. He's very hard to tackle. So look for this game probably to be high scoring, probably in the 70s. Vanderbilt, Florida 18.5, 51.5. Where's that? He hasn't moved. Florida's got a lot of injuries. Vanderbilt, Swan's a really good quarterback. They don't have defense, but they got a good offense. Florida, as we saw what they did to Tennessee at home, they're a different animal than at Kentucky. So look for Florida to be better here. Pretty good defense. The question is, will Swan have time? If he does, that's a lot of points to give a quarterback like this. 18.5. Yeah, you got an under playing an over, so we'll see. Normally, I like the under here, but I don't like Mertz, and I don't like Florida laying 18 to anybody, especially in conference, especially Vanderbilt, who can score points. Troy and Ark State. Troy, 15.5, 52.5. Line hasn't moved. Ark State's over. Troy's an even team. 15.5 seems like a lot here. Troy just buried somebody last week. Gee, you got Oklahoma at 5.5. Very good. I got them at 6.5. But I do see 4.5 here. So, again, that's why I say shop around. I mean, if you really want to do this, you got to shop around. You got to find the best line at the best odds. You don't play 120. You got to play 110 or 112. In other words, your juice should be 110 to win 100, not 120. If you're getting 120, you got to find somebody else. So I was with the guy, and he's playing 120, and I'm just like, fine, 110. So 110 is the appropriate wear. Odds 260. 260 though. What do you mean 260? 260. I don't understand. You're laying 260 to win 100. That doesn't make sense. G. It's 11 to 10. If you're playing the 5.5, it's 11 to 10, and a teaser should be 11 to 10. 110 to win 100. So you're not. If you made a bet where you're laying 260 to win 100, then find some other site to go to, because that's ridiculous. So I don't know what you mean there. Money line? Are you money lining 260? I don't know. Troy, okay. South Florida and UAB. South Florida 368.5. Hasn't really moved. Both teams are a high-scoring team. Both are over teams. And you can see that, though, in the total, 68.5. UConn and Rice 9.5, 47.5. UConn is the Z team. Rice is an over team. Tulsa, Florida Atlantic 2.5 and 54. That line hasn't moved. Florida Atlantic lost their quarterback. Tulsa's probably a live dog in this game, as Florida Atlantic is not very good, and I don't know how they're favored in this game. Coach Prime 3.5, 58.5. Line hasn't moved. It went down to 3.5 yesterday. Arizona State has been hurt by their quarterbacks, but I think they got them back today, or at least two of them. So I would say this is definitely an over. We know Colorado is going to score 40, but Arizona State probably will put up a 30 or 40 also. Look at the line, 3.5. So let's figure this out. If the line's 3.5, and we know Colorado's going to put up 40 points, then Arizona State puts up 35 points. That gets you way over this 58 down to 52. Gee, well, the price is 260, so if I bet 100, I win 31. What? I don't understand what you wrote. The price is 260. What does that mean? So you're telling me if you play a teaser, is this a teaser or are you betting it straight? The price is 260. So if I bet 100 to that makes no sense. I don't know what you're talking about. Is the real line 4.5 and you're buying it to 5.5? Otherwise, it should be 11 to 10. You should bet 110 to win 100, maybe 112 to win 100. So whatever you're doing, I would go find another site, or you're not explaining the bet properly. There's no way you're betting 260 to win. You're not betting 100 to win 31 in any for a regular bet or a teaser bet. If you're on that site, I would quickly leave the site and find a normal site that is real. Georgia 14.5, 47.5 against Kentucky. We know Georgia's a good under. They're both A teams, both pretty good defenses. Georgia will be Georgia 47.5. South Alabama 10.5, 50.5. Against Lou Monroe. Lou Monroe's a W team. South Alabama's an E team, not that strong. It's a kind of a big spread for South Alabama. Old D, Southern Miss 2.5, 57.5. This is another. I think it's a live dog. Southern Miss is terrible. They're W, quarterback's out. I don't see where they're favored. Old Dominion played some good games. They're a real live dog here. How can it be a straight bet? Are you buying the point? I mean, is the real line 4.5? You're taking up to 5.5? I mean, that's just ridiculous. There's no straight bet. You bet 100 to win 31. I mean, so you're telling me any straight bet. So if you took anything else, you took the Lions tomorrow plus the points, you'd bet 100 to win 31, and that's a straight bet on this site for every game. Well, you can screenshot it, but what are you doing at this site then? If the odds are 110 to win 100 on the straight bet, MGM it's probably like 130. So 130 wins it. So what does it cost you to win 100? 100 to win 31 makes no sense. So if they're fucking around with you, then just leave it. Get out of that site and get into a normal site. Ole Miss 11.5, 61.5 to Arkansas. Really hasn't moved. This should be a high-scoring one. Ole Miss, look what they did last week to LSU. Look what they did to Alabama. Arkansas doesn't have that defense. They got so this should be definitely in the 70s. Michigan 18.5, 45. Michigan's an 18. Minnesota, they're an E team, but they haven't beaten anybody. They haven't played anybody. My only fear is Michigan just lays it to them. So I like Michigan versus going under. I've been playing Michigan under, winning easily every week. But in this case, Minnesota's so bad, I don't know. Michigan might just pound them. Yeah, I mean, what kind of odds are there? So that's every game you bet 100 to win 31. If that's it, who would be on that site? That's the beauty of competition is they can't. If they do that, nobody will bet with them. What's the point of having a site and being a bookie? So just go to a normal site where you got 11 to 10 on a straight bet anyway, and off you go. Yeah, you guys got to shop for the best site with the best odds. Don't just play somewhere and do 130 to win 100. I don't know what your odds were there, G. 100 to win 31 at 20 to at 12 to 10. Well, 13 to 10, I think you still win $70 or something. So do it to win 100 and see what that gives you the odds, right? So if you do 120 or 130, but that's ridiculous. Notre Dame and Louisville. Notre Dame 6.5, 53.5. That line has not moved. Both teams are A teams, but Louisville hasn't really beaten anybody. Notre Dame should have beat Ohio State. Did beat Duke on the last play of the game. They did crush NC State. Good balance on Notre Dame. Pretty good defense. I think Notre Dame wins this one. G-Tech, Miami 20.5, 57.5. I don't think that line moved. That was 19.5. I like Van Dyke at home. Georgia Tech can score a lot, so look for a 70-point game there. TCU, Iowa State, TCU 6.5, 52.5. The line hasn't moved. I don't know what's going on with Iowa State. They always give up. If you get 20 points on them, you've had a good game. But the last two games have went over. I don't know if there's defensive injuries or a lot of it is the quarterback throwing too much, resulting in pick sixes. So it's not even the defense's fault. So I'd stay away from Iowa State and Iowa State under. Maybe it's a TCU play. Fresno 6.5, 42.5 against Wyoming. At Wyoming, so that scares you a little. Fresno's the A team. Wyoming is an E team, so they're scoring in the mid-20s, giving up in the mid-20s. Fresno is the better team, but at Wyoming, we'll see. Colorado State, Utah State, both teams are over teams. Colorado State 2.5, 62.5. Again, the game's at Utah State. San Jose State, Boise State. Boise 9.5, 57.5. Both teams are over teams. We like the San Jose State quarterback, Cordero. Boise's been scoring a lot lately. So, again, this should be a high-scoring game. Texas Tech, Baylor, Texas Tech 1.5, 59.5. Baylor's got their quarterback shaping. Texas Tech's quarterback's out. Their backup doesn't look too bad. He's played a few games. Again, I would think I think Baylor would be a live home dog and probably a higher scoring game. Oregon State and Cal. Oregon State 7.5, 51.5. This is a tough game. Cal's not that bad. And Oregon State, better at home. They just lost at Washington State. And then they just beat Utah. So it's tougher because it's at Cal. Oregon State's an A team. Cal's an over team, even though their quarterback doesn't do much. They run a lot, which I don't know if they're going to be able to run on Oregon State. And last but not least, USC 21.5, 69.5. This is your 10:30 game. What do you do with USC? They can score and they have no defense. I would think to be safe, I think you just go over in the game. Arizona's quarterback, DeLuca, is questionable with an ankle. Their backup didn't do much against Washington. They got a lucky touchdown at the end on a penalty drive. So it should have been 42 to 14 Washington last week. So Arizona and I looked and the quarterback's questionable. Now, granted, this is the West Coast and it's only 8 in the morning there, so it's something you want to check. If he plays, I think it's an over. Arizona's got a decent defense, but I don't. So you're going to hold what? USC to 41, 44? So it's tough because USC gets you in the 40s and Arizona maybe only gets you in the 20s. So it's going to be close to that 69.5 or 63.5. All right. So those are your lines. So let's go through injuries. So I just looked about 9:30, so it's 11 o'clock. Let's look again. So particularly, let's look at that Arizona game. Akron quarterback's out for the season. Irons, he wasn't that good anyway. Alabama's very healthy. Arizona, DeLuca, quarterback's questionable with the calf. Another calf injury, him and Burrow. So we don't know. I mean, it's a questionable thing. You can watch the line. The line hasn't moved. Well, actually, the over was 72. Now it's 69, so it is coming down. So maybe that means he's not playing. The backup wasn't that good. If we know Delora is out, we could probably take USC here and lay the 15. If he is playing, we can probably go over. So this is a case where I don't know if Arizona, pretty good defense. You're not going to stop USC. And the only one that can stop USC is Utah and Georgia. And that's probably it. Used to be Iowa State, but they turned on us. So those are probably the only two teams that are going to stop, maybe Washington, who are going to stop USC. So this will be interesting. Arizona State, Rashada, the quarterback, out till November. Pine, the guy from Notre Dame, played. He's questionable with the leg. So they have a starter's their first or second. I think Pine's the starter. So he's questionable, but the second stringer played last week. They put up points. I don't think their stats don't tell because they haven't had a quarterback. So I think they'll be better. Like against Colorado today, you can see the over-under is 58. They don't have much of a defense. This should be the pretty high score for them. Arkansas is clean. Army's clean. Auburn, Ball State, Baylor fine. Boise, a bunch of questionables. They'll all be playing. Buffalo, a bunch of questionables. Cal, a couple of running backs are out with the leg, out for the season, out and up. So 3 running backs are out, but not the key running back. Ott is not on here. He's their stud running back, so they'll give him trouble. UCF, Plumlee, probable. So UCF gets a big boost there against Kansas. Clemson, bunch of questionables. I have no idea. Colorado. So Colorado, cornerback Hunter out. Another cornerback, two cornerbacks are questionable. Safety's questionable. And another safety's questionable with a kidney. That's prime juniors. So as weak as their defense is, they got two safeties and three cornerbacks out or questionable. So again, we're looking at a high-scoring Colorado game. What else is new? Let's see. Duke Riley Leonard, I don't think they play today, is questionable with the leg. He hurt it. I saw the play. They bent on his foot. But they don't play this week. They play next week, so hopefully he'll be better by then. The fact he's questionable, he must not have broken anything. East Carolina, nothing. Florida, a lot of questionables. Florida Atlantic, the quarterback, Thompson, is out. He's their starter. Backup's not doing too well. Florida International, their quarterback, I don't even know if he's their starter. Jenkins is probable, so that's fine. Florida State, nothing really. Fresno State, receiver and a running back are out, but we don't know if they're starters or not. Georgia, a lot of questionables. O lineman out, D lineman out, running back out, and a tight end out, but not Brock Bowers. The other five are questionable, so I would assume they play because it's Georgia. Georgia State, nothing. Georgia Tech, running back until October, another one's probable. Offensive lineman out, wide receiver out, wide receiver out, wide receiver out. 3 wide receivers are out, but we don't know if they're starters. So we will see. Hawaii, nothing. Houston, nothing. Illinois lost 2 DBs for the season, which is probably why their defense is not as strong. Plus, they lost a guy to the pros and probably can't replace him. But they were a strong under last year, not this year. Indiana's an under, but not just some wide receivers questionable for if they've been playing today. Iowa, we know they lost McNamara. They lost another running back is out. 2 running backs are out. And 2 wide receivers are out. They've had a lot of injuries the last year and this year. So they've lost 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, and a quarterback are all out for the year. So that's probably why Iowa doesn't score a lot when you don't have your players. Let's see. Kansas, Daniels, doubtful. We know. We don't care. We like Bean anyway. K-State, fine. Kentucky, 2 running backs out. 2 linemen, 3 linemen out. That's good against Georgia. Yeah. Keep that game low. LSU, 2 wide receivers doubtful. Running back out. Safety out. Cornerback out. Another quarterback questionable. So are these stars? It's not the quarterback, so we'll see. Normally LSU's got a ton of receivers and running backs. Unless it's like a Bote or some of those, then it's a different story. L-Tech, Backenmeyer, quarterback. He sucks. He's from Boise. Questionable with the shoulder. Oh, they must have already played. Okay. Louisville, defensive back out, another defensive back closed, and they're playing. They got Notre Dame, so that's not good to have that against Hartman. Maryland, now they got Ohio State. They've got a bunch of questionables. Now they got the outs are a linebacker, a tight end, a wide receiver, and an offensive lineman. All right. And then they got questionable 2 wide receivers and 2 running backs are questionable for today. So it makes you like Ohio State a whole lot more, but let's go to Ohio State. Miami, pretty good. Just a D lineman out. The rest are questionable. Michigan's got some quarterback orgy, ORJI, not ORGY, doubtful, but who knows? He doesn't play. And then a bunch of questionables, a couple of wide receivers out I never heard of. Minnesota, see here, and they got 2 wide receivers questionable. Let's look at the outs. Defensive lineman, linebacker, another defensive back, O-lineman, another linebacker, and another. So Minnesota's problem this year, they've lost 2 defensive linemen. They're out. 2 linebackers are out, a DB. Then they got another linebacker questionable. This is why I'm not playing Michigan under today, because of all the Minnesota. Michigan could easily put up a 50 on them. So I think that's more prudent to take Michigan there. Ole Miss, nothing. Old Mississippi State, 2 defensive linemen out for the season, and a safety out, and 2 tight ends out. So Mississippi State's got, who do they got? Where we're at, 11-11. Mississippi State, I think they play Eastern Michigan. Yeah, Western Michigan. Yeah, so the over-under is 54, so that's, you can probably get an over there. See, the position of the, hey, Bobby Bo, the positions that are out, so if it's defense and you want to bet offense, fine. So if you're looking for an under on a game and all their offense is out, well, that's good. If you're looking for an over and all the defense are out, then that's good. Even though they might not be the starters, it's still got to hurt. Missouri, 2 wide receivers out. Good news for you, Bobby Bo. Running back out, and 2 defensive backs out for Missouri for LSU today. NC State, nothing really. Big Nebraska, they already played. Nevada, nothing. North Car, nothing much. North Texas, North Illinois, Northwestern. Notre Dame. Okay. 2 wide receivers questionable with hamstrings. I thought there's only hamstrings in the pros. I didn't realize college guys got hamstring injuries. Otherwise, everybody else is out for the season. 2 tight ends, a kicker, and a defensive lineman and a wide receiver. So that might be why Hartman's struggling. This Case Smith's been out. But then these other 2 wide receivers, who I know, Greathouse and Thomas, are both hamstring. But they're questionable, and it's a big game against Louisville, so they'll probably play. But, so sometimes it's not Hartman. It's if he doesn't have anybody to throw to. Let's go to Ohio State. Okay, Ohio State. Now, they got Maryland. We saw Maryland's injuries. Ohio State, Stockdale, wide receiver, never heard of, out. Questionable. They'll all play. And then 2 tight ends are also out for the season. Herb Kirkstreet's son. So I wonder how he got there, right? Yeah, no nepotism involved there. They just the kid went to Ohio State. I'm sure he's as good as Herb was. So we really don't have much. We got a lot of questionable, a couple of wide receivers questionable, but they're not Harrison and the other guy. All right. Oklahoma, DB out for the season, tight end questionable, tight end out, and a DB and a linebacker, but they've been out for a couple of weeks, so not too worried. As long as Gabriel's healthy. Oregon State, nothing. Penn State. Okay, so the spread is 5.5, 120, and when I tease 6 points, it increases to 320 as a single bet. So if I bet 120, I win. Gee, what are you doing? If I bet 320, I win 100. I couldn't explain earlier. I don't know what you're talking about. There should be a teaser line, and the teaser bet's 110 to win 100 or 120. So if the spread's 5.5 at 120, when I tease 6 points, it increases to 320. No, it doesn't. I don't know what you're doing, but you're not doing it correctly. There should be a teaser line, and the teaser bet is not 320 to win 100. So I don't know what you're doing. I can't help you with that, but it's not the same. It's the same. It's a, it's a two-team teaser. Are you clicking two teams? Maybe it's doing it as a one-team teaser, or it's saying, oh, you're adding 6.5 to it. So those are the odds. Are you clicking on two-team teasers? Because what you're doing doesn't make any sense to me. A two-team teaser should be 110, 120 at the worst for a two-team teaser. So are you clicking two-team teaser? I think it's probably looking at it going, oh, you're adding 6 points to it. So if you want to add 6 points to it and you're not calling it a two-team teaser, then those odds would make sense. Was Brock Bauer the tight end for Notre Dame before UGA? He was making some great one-handed catches. No, he's always been at Alabama. He's the best player in the country, Brock Bauer. He's been at Alabama when he was a freshman. Where are you getting Notre Dame? No, he was never at Notre Dame. He's the best player. He's the best tight end. Yeah, no, the place I bet isn't good. I did one team straight. Okay, so you've been betting teasers there at 320 to win 100? I don't know. He's in Georgia. Brock Bowers has been the tight end for Georgia for 3 years as a freshman, sophomore, and junior. What are you talking about Notre Dame? Or is that a misprint? Was Brock Bowers a tight end for Notre Dame before Georgia? No, he's never played at Notre Dame. Okay. Yeah, he's a great player. He should win the Heisman, and he should be the number one pick in the draft of some, like for these guys with a quarterback, like the Bears, if they think Fields is any good because he lit up Washington and Denver, then they should take Brock Bowers. That would be a perfect fit for them, but they need a quarterback. They just don't know it. All right. Penn State. Does Penn State even play? No, they don't play today. Pitt, Purdue plays at Iowa. Let's see, bunch of questionables. I look at the questionables as they're playing. All right, Rice, no injuries. There's nobody on Rice to get injured, so they don't list anybody. How can a team not have an injury, right? How can Rice not have one? Rutgers, wide receiver out for eligibility and an offensive lineman out. Otherwise, they don't have much. Sam Houston State, they already played. San Jose State, tight end and a running back are out, and a wide receiver, but not the quarterback. South Car, pretty healthy. South Florida, USC, wide receiver questionable. They're all questionable. They'll all be playing. SMU, I don't think they play today. Southern Miss, Wilkie, the quarterback's out, but I don't think he's not the starter. Stanford, A. Daniels, the quarterback, questionable with the head. I don't know what that means, but they don't even play today. Syracuse. Now, Syracuse has an interesting game with somebody early. Where are they? They play North Carolina. Wide receiver questionable. Another wide receiver out. Tight end out. O-lineman out, and a tight end. So 2 tight ends out and a receiver. Now, they throw the ball a lot. They fumbled 5 times against Clemson. I got North Carolina. So this should be a pretty tight game, I would think. Temple, nothing. Tennessee, I don't think they play today. Texas, okay, the big game. O-lineman out, and a D lineman out, and a tight end questionable, and a D back. So Oklahoma and Texas are pretty healthy for this game today. A&M, we know the quarterback Wegman's out for the year. TCU, no injuries on TCU. UTEP doesn't play. Texas State's pretty healthy. Texas Tech. The quarterback Shaw is out with a broken leg till November, but their backup seems to be okay. UTSA, Frank Harris, probable with the toe. That's good. Troy's good. Tulane's good. Tulsa's good. UAB, UCLA, fine. Lou Lafayette, their quarterback, Woolridge, is out with the foot. Their backup's okay, but not great. Lou Monroe, quarterback's out, but he's not their starter. Probably their runner quarterback. UNLV, Brumfield, their quarterback, is questionable, but he hasn't played in a while. Utah, Cam Rising, out indefinitely with the knee, but again, I don't know why they said that. It's just until the doctor says yes. It hasn't hurt anymore. It's still fine waiting. Utah State's fine. Vandy, Swan, their quarterback's a good one. It's probable with an elbow. Virginia Tech. Now their quarterback, Wells, questionable with an ankle. He's pretty good. He's from Marshall. Wake Forest, nothing. Washington, couple of questionables and 5 outs. Let's go through their outs. Defensive lineman, defensive end, O-lineman, running back, and a wide receiver. So not terrible for Washington. Washington State, their receiver Victor's doubtful for UCLA today. They've lost a defensive tackle and 2 defensive ends are out, but they're not the stud defensive ends because I've already checked. Western Michigan's fine. Wisconsin always has a boatload of questionables. I swear, Michigan State, and Wisconsin have like 20 guys questionable, and I don't even know if they play. I've never heard of half of them. All right, Bobby, he's a great player. Yes, he's the best. Sorry, Professor Bobby Bo was way off on that one. I might as well have said Mark McGuire was the Mets. Well, maybe he was at the Mets. UNC. What about UNC? Cam Rising, AK to Kawhi Leonard. Well, not really. Kawhi Leonard's hurt every year. Cam Rising is he's been hurt a little bit. He hurt his knee in the Rose Bowl, we know, and he's had surgery. It's not like he's keeps getting hurt. I mean, he got hurt, but we're waiting on the doctor to quit fucking around. We'll see what it is. So anyway, so those are your injuries. The only key one I see is the UCF quarterback Plumlee is playing, which you could see how they knew 2 days ago because Kansas was a 2.5-point favorite. Plumlee, the quarterback, now is playing, and all of a sudden Kansas, UCF's a 1.5-point favorite. Let's see if I got any email questions. No, nothing. All right, so our free pick today is Oklahoma getting 6.5. I have 2 locks going. I have a college lock today and a pro college lock tomorrow. And a lot of good picks. In my eyes, I try to be careful. And you still find like 6, 7 teasers that you play and you go, yeah, they look good. And the problem in college, you're going to have some losers. So that's going to kill some teasers. You hope you have both losers in the same teaser because once the teaser's gone, and then you hope you hit the other 4 or 5 teasers. So it's always interesting. Pros, I found 4 or 5 real good ones, and then the rest I'm like shaking my head going, I don't know what to do with them. That bastard Rising needs to come back because he still owes Bobby Bo for that horrible Rose Bowl performance. It wasn't. They were winning when he went out. Yeah, he did cost us, but it's part of the game. That's why you got to be careful what you're going to do because these injuries are part of the game. So that's why you've got to be careful. Even Oklahoma, I got to hope Gabriel doesn't get hurt. But since I have to bet before and I'm not Bernie Madoff, then I'm betting that Gabriel will play the whole game. Maybe the Texas quarterback gets hurt. And Manning Jr. has to get in and throws 3 interceptions. That would be nice. It'll come down to turnovers. I'm kind of expecting a lower scoring game in that game, but I like Oklahoma. The line's down to 4.5. Although G says she gets it at 5.5. And again, the spreads that's why you shop. But on my scores and odds, it's 4.5. So, I give you what I see. But of course, I get a lot of questions. Where'd you get that spread from? And it's like, what I get, I'm looking at I'm shopping for my spreads, right? Just like you would for tires. You can go to Firestone, you can go to Discount Tire, you can go to the dealer, to Toyota. You're going to get different prices everywhere. So it's up to you to shop around. Maybe you go to Costco for tires and they're $20 cheaper. But that's the same thing in football. You shop around for the best odds and the best spread. So you look for, give me a 110 on a teaser. Once you find that, then you go and you look for the best line. So you try to get 3 or 4 sports books that are 110, and then you shop all 4 of them. You don't bet on DraftKings and all these little, what's that other one? Bet MGM. No, do anything with MGM. Their odds suck. They're 130 to win 100. So you stay away from them. You go to like Caesars. Our friend said it was 112. That's what you're looking for. 110, 112, fine. And then you make the bet, and then you look for multiple places that give you 110 on the teaser. And then you look for the line. You can pick the game, and now it's like, where do you go for it? I think even Kenzie lost money that day. Oh, probably. Yeah. She doesn't buy gold, so she loses anyway. Not anymore. I don't know what that means, G. Any coin store trips this weekend? The big bars look cool. It'll be nice to walk out of the coin store with a 50-ounce bar. What, silver? But what are you going to do with it? I'd rather have a half ounce of gold than a 50-ounce silver, because what are you going to do with your 50-ounce bar? Who are you going to sell it to? So an ounce you can easily sell. Or if you take the white and you get 10 ounces, you can easily sell the 10. A 50-ounce bar, I don't know, maybe. But, I kind of like to keep it simple and just buy the coins. But if you want 50, yeah, that makes sense. I would walk out the coin store feeling like a Russian. Yeah, I guess, or a Chinaman. One or the other. I'm going to do the free picks for 105. Oh, well, there you go. I got Oklahoma at 4.5, not 5.5 anymore. Oh, okay. Well, that's what I said, 4.5. For 105, are you teasing them? So is this a teaser? So you got Oklahoma in 10.5? Yeah, I'm reading you the most current spread. Yeah, okay, well, that's fine then. 10.5 is fine. But that's why I don't wait till now. When I gave you 6.5 3 days ago, that's when you should bet it. Because normally I know where the spread's going, and in this type of game, and it's revenge, but it won't matter. 10.5 will be a winner. They're not going to get blown out, and they easily can win the game. So that's what we're looking at. Pros we'll talk about tomorrow. Again, your free pick in the pros is Miami over the Giants. We had the over in the Washington game on Thursday, which was an easy. Both defenses gave up over 30 points a game, and that's really what you got in the Miami game. I just don't trust the Giants to score. That's why I like Miami. Miami will light them up, but Sims, really, I don't think he lights him up. No, actually, I found out my General Chow, the sauce is a sweet and sour sauce. So I asked her last week, I says, does it have sugar in it? She says, yeah, it's sweet and sour sauce. Because I've been feeling funny. I've been dieting and fasting, and then I'll get the General Chow. And, I can feel the effects of the sugar. So I asked her and she said, yeah. So I'm either going to get the sauce on the side if I can and then just not use it or just dunk in it a little bit. Or I'm going to have to go to the Szechuan chicken, which is chicken and vegetables, but not the sugar sauce. But I can't have the sugar sauce. I've told her that. I was surprised when she said, yeah, it has sugar in it, because she knows I'm watching my sugars. And so I was surprised by it. But occasionally I'll get sweet and sour chicken from her, and she gives me the sweet and sour sauce in another container. So you got the chicken, and then you can kind of dip it in the sauce, which is okay. I mean, my salad dressing's got some sugar in it. So, yeah, I'll go there, but I'll get the other chicken, or she can leave the sauce on the side, which she should be able to. I mean, they must pour the sauce into it unless they actually cook it in the sauce. But now the other point would be I can drain the sauce out of the container. It comes in that white box. So when I get home, I can just take the chicken out, have a little bit of sugar, but not dip it in like I usually do in the broccolis and the sauce also. So we'll see. But yeah, it's general chow night. Like that. All right. So it's 11:30. You've got the 12 o'clock games. You've got the latest lines. Again, the free pick, Oklahoma, and then play it with the Miami Dolphins tomorrow, laying 10.5. You lay down to 4. Normally, I don't like laying more than 3 in the pros, but I do. Quick news out of the Detroit Lions. That receiver, St. Brown, is out. There's a lot of injuries on the Lions. Let's quickly talk about them. So if you look at the line, so Detroit's 9.5, 43.5, but it doesn't make sense. If we look at the injuries, so if you look at the injuries, Branch, the DB from Alabama's out. St. Brown's doubtful, the wide receiver. He's his favorite one. And then they get this Williams guy from Alabama. He doesn't even know the playbook. He's been there 2 years. Doesn't know the plays, doesn't know the playbook. Typical Alabama wide receiver, right? So most of the guys are playing who were doubtful. So really what they got, Branch out, and then this St. Brown, who's his favorite target, is doubtful with an abdomen. That's about it. So maybe not, but St. Brown injury is a big one. But anyway, so let's just quickly look at the noon games again. So the noon. So we got Toledo 19.5, 56.5. Army 2.5, 47.5. Ooh, Bobby, your LSU's up to 6.5. It was down to 5.5. Yeah, so the Sharps are betting LSU today. 6.5, 63.5. Texas is down to 4.5, 60.5. Ohio State down to 17.5, 56.5. Wisconsin 12.5, 44 to Rutgers. Mississippi State 22.5, 55.5 to Western. And that's it. So those are your noon lines. You've got 11:35. UCLA, Washington State, big game, 3.5, 60.5 UCLA. Where's my Washington State guy? North Carolina, 9.5, 59 against Syracuse. Florida State, 23.5, 52.5. That could be a very big score. Let's see, Alabama 2.5, 45.5 to A&M. UCF 1.5, 63.5 to Kansas now. Prime 3.5, 58.5 to Arizona State. Another high scoring Colorado game, no doubt. Georgia 14.5, 47.5. Ole Miss 11.5, 61.5 to Arkansas. Your buddy Jefferson, Bobby. Michigan 18.5, 46.5 to Minnesota. Notre Dame 6.5, 53.5 to Louisville. Miami and Van Dyke 20.5, 57.5. TCU 6.5, 52.5 to Iowa State. Oregon State 7.5, 51.5 to Cal, and the nightcap at 10:30 our time is USC 21.5, 69.5 to Arizona. Was 72. So the unders are betting because the Arizona quarterback's questionable. And I would say if he's out, USC might actually cover 15. But the bitch in the Pac-10, Stanford. Bet against Stanford with all the good teams. That's the way to go. That's when you'll get your 64 to nothings. Is when they play Stanford, because Stanford's terrible. And what's amazing is their quarterbacks get drafted even though they suck, like Davis Mills. He was terrible in college. He gets drafted by Houston. You're like, what the fuck is this guy? What did you draft him for? He sucked at Stanford. All these great quarterbacks in the Pac-10, they get Davis Mills. Anyway, as you can see, it's 11:30. It's time for me to eat. What else? Hey, Prophet. You have a 3-team 10-point chaser I'm working on, but I need one more team to complete it. So far, I have Oklahoma and Louisville. Well, I gave you Miami of Dolphins. In the pros, they'll be even. That's a winner. Be very careful about Buffalo tomorrow. Buffalo has Jacksonville in London at 9:30, and Jacksonville stayed there. So it's just fucking ridiculous. Buffalo's getting screwed. It's not that they have to travel to London, but if both teams have to travel, it's even. But when one team traveled last week and is staying there and is used to the time, it's bullshit. So be careful with Buffalo tomorrow. So I got 2 lock games going, a pro college and 2 college. And a lot of good college today. And a lot of good pro tomorrow, but not too many. I have 3 to 4 pros, but they're good ones. And about 7 college teasers. They're just kind of easy to find between totals and teams. I didn't lock Oklahoma, but I really like Oklahoma. What else? So I don't want to get off football yet into economics. Now, we started talking, if you watched the end of my video yesterday on the game, and I think I impressed myself because I went to a place that I didn't go to before, which basically is everything's a game, right? You got to understand the game. And what I mean by that is, like in investing, the attack on Wall Street guy did not understand the real estate trust that he bought. The guy didn't explain the game to him. So what that means is he didn't know if the housing market got hit, that his real estate trust will go bankrupt. He missed that. So even if he's watching the real estate market crumble, he thinks he's okay. He didn't understand the game. The game is if they do that, if the housing market crashes, so does his real estate trust. So that's what I mean. They don't understand the stock market. The game is they get people in for the commissions. They don't care if anybody makes money, and they don't explain that with high interest rates. Why would you buy Tesla or GM or Ford? They're never going to make the things. So people don't understand the game, and that's what I was. And I just thought of it in the middle of the light went on as I was talking yesterday. So it's near the end of mine, but it gets into football. You got to understand the game. What are you looking for, how to pick it. And then I went into how to bet it. And that was critical of how to, we figured out, Prophet's figured out his three-teamer. Big again saying, yeah, I know, Prophet. I've been talking about that. Absolutely. That's why I pre-picked Oklahoma. 49-0. They're going to now. Ohio State was a big revenge game with Michigan, and they didn't win it just because it's a revenge, but it is a good reason to bet it. At the end of the day, it's a matchup, and Ohio State can't stop Michigan's run. Now, Ohio State looks like a better defensive team, so maybe they focused on the Michigan run. That's why their defense is better. We will see. But Oklahoma, their defense looks every bit as strong as Texas. We give Texas credit for beating Alabama, but then as people are saying, well, Alabama's really not that strong. Okay. Maybe, maybe not. So then the Texas win doesn't look as good. So we will see. But, defensively, Oklahoma statistically is better. Offensively, Oklahoma statistically better. Gabriel's the better quarterback statistically. I think he's 14-0, and Ewers is like 12-2, touchdown to interception. So, yeah. Now, I jumped about one guy saying, he wanted college picks. He says, well, I watched your Thursday video. I said, yeah, but I only talked about the Thursday games. I didn't go through the whole list Thursday because I went through them Wednesday. But I told them, like today and yesterday, I walk game by game by game. So I walk right through it, but I don't analyze every game. A lot of games I don't know how to analyze. UTSA Temple. I mean, it's Frank Harris is back. What are you going to do? I can give you their overs or unders or A's or Z's. That's as far as I can go on some of these games. But we can talk Oklahoma, Texas a lot better. But if you have questions, just ask. That's why it's live. Just you're watching. Boom. If Bobby asks me a question on health, I'm going to answer it once I'm done with football, which I am now. But we have 15 minutes to kickoff. So keep that in mind. But anyway, so I thought that was interesting because you got to know how much to bet. So once you've figured out the game, how much does Prophet bet on his three-team teaser? What about Ohio State -7 is the third team in my three-team teaser? I think there's better games that you can play than Ohio State -7. I don't know what I'm getting with Ohio State. I don't know. The quarterback scares me. He's only thrown 6 touchdowns, 1 pick, and you got those great receivers. I don't know how good Maryland is. I mean, they've been scoring a lot against nobody. And I don't like that. Georgia -8.5. Yeah. Brock Bowers. Why only 8.5? Aren't you playing a 10-point teaser? If you're playing a 10-point teaser, it'd be Georgia -4.5. That would make better sense than 8.5. Oh, gee, you're saying 8.5. No, Prophet's doing a 10-point teaser, a 3-team 10-pointer. So his Georgia would be -4.5, which seems like that would be a good one. I might guide you to Michigan. Would be 8.5 there. I think they're going to kill Minnesota. Minnesota's quarterback's terrible. So part of your skill set to picking the game is to look at the quarterback. So if you look at Illinois and Minnesota, their quarterbacks are very weak this year. So here comes Michigan into town. They're not going to get lit up by this guy. So that might be a better play for you than Ohio State. Can you play totals in your 10-pointer? Yeah, I'd probably play Georgia. I mean, if you're going to lose and you bet Georgia, how bad can you feel? I mean, and they're at home. They don't lose at home, not to Kentucky. Can you play totals in your 10-point teaser? Probably go Georgia under then. Well, you can go either way. Georgia under 58 or -4, whatever you're more comfortable with. But, Georgia plays low-scoring games. But there's, just stay away from LSU because Bobby bet it. And we know Bobby's luck with LSU. Washington State's out there. You can get 13.5 with them. Florida State. So you just look at the good teams. At home, they're probably going to win. Are you successful on 10-point teasers? The odds suck, though. What's your odds on the 10-point teaser? Bobby, it's over. Their defense sucks. Washington is not playing today. So you got good odds, 130. That'll be a good game. Yeah, I believe so. Washington State's at UCLA. It's hard to figure Oregon. We bet them over against Colorado, and it never got there because they got up 42-0 and just ran the ball. But yes, I can't imagine that game. But what's the over-under going to be? Are they going to make it 75? That's what I like today. I got a few overs that are like in the 50s, and I was excited. Well, if Notre Dame starts playing well, but USC can't stop them, and I doubt USC will stop Notre Dame will stop USC. Well, the question is, what is our total going to be? We know those are going to be high-scoring games, but what we don't know is what the line is. So that's what you're looking at. Yeah, so that's why we categorize the overs and unders and A's and Z's. So there's for example, Central Michigan and Buffalo. They're both over teams. We saw Central against Notre Dame. Buffalo's pretty solid quarterback. The over-under is only, I think, 52 with 2 over teams. Now, I know math because I'm in Michigan. That's the type of game that I love the over in because it's a 52, but it's with over teams. Good quarterbacks, no defense. That's what you're kind of looking at versus the USC Arizona at 69. Right. You got to get all the way to in the 60s. And can you trust Arizona? We can trust USC. But here we need fucking 46, 47 with two over teams. That's what you look, but they're over teams. That's what you're looking at. Texas State, Lou Lafayette, two over teams, but they're over 68. Let's look for two over teams in the 50s, and I bring you to San Jose State, Boise at night. Two over teams, over under 58. That's what That's why we rank the teams. That's why we look and we see shit. They give up 35 points a game. Just like the Bears and the Redskins on Thursday. They both give up 30 points a game. The over-under was only 44. It was a joke. That was a joke. That should have been a lock. I didn't lock it. I apologize. That was a joke, 44, because people don't get it, right? We get it. I get it. If teams have no defense, how the hell, Denver gives up 33 a game, I think 38 a game, and they look what they did with Miami, still scoring on them. If we look at the Kansas City, Minnesota game tomorrow, it's very confusing because Kansas City, that game should be a 60-point game. The problem is Kansas City's got a good defense this year, and they're not scoring because they don't have a wide receiver. Now, they should score on Minnesota, but in Minnesota, are they going to score on this tough KC defense? KC's not an over this year. Their defense is not giving up 30 points a game like normal. It's giving up 15. So how do I play an over Kansas City when they're not an over team anymore? But then I spot Denver, who gives up a ton, and Washington and Chicago give up a ton. That's what it's about, is if they have a bad defense, they can't stop you. Of course, the score is going to go up. That's what you're looking for, and vice versa. Teams like the Niners and Dallas and Philadelphia, New England, New Orleans, these are under teams. So you're not expecting a lot of points in those games. So you look at it, the type of team they are and the type of defense tells you, it leads you to what do you think the score will be, which leads you to more totals. I don't know who's going to win, but I know it's going to be high scoring or low. Like in the Washington game, I didn't know who was going to win, but I knew it would be high scoring. So Chicago, Washington, I don't give a fuck who wins. I only give a fuck there's a lot of points, and all I need is 38, which I think it was 27-3 at half. I needed 8 points in the second half. Fields did that for me. See, Fields looked more like Fields yesterday, but he's only going to look that way against these terrible defenses. When he plays good defenses, he's 2 of 12 for 82 yards, and he gets sacked 6 times. Okay. Bobby, like to provide. Okay. Even tonight's USC over seems enticing against Arizona, but Arizona's quarterback is doubtful with a knee or an ankle. That's the problem. If the Arizona quarterback plays, it's an over. If he doesn't play, you might take USC laying the 21. The only common denominator we have is we know USC is going to score 50 points or should score 50 points. Arizona does have a decent defense. They held Washington, really we'll call it 42. They had 35, but they fumbled at the 2. So Washington basically got 42 on them. So we'll take that as USC in the 40s. So it's up to the Arizona quarterback. If DeLuca plays, it's probably an over. If he doesn't play, I think he'll play. It's at USC. Maybe he won't play. I think if it was at Arizona, he'd play. But that's why you got to look at the injuries. Are you getting the full team? Another professor has been looking forward to the Red River outlet. You think OU can win the game outright? Why not? Sure they can. If you look at their defense, they're giving up 10 points a game. And they just put up 60 on Iowa State, which nobody puts 60 up on Iowa State. I know there was a couple of pick sixes, but it's a revenge game. So there's no question in that game, Oklahoma, and I love Gabriel and the defense. I think he's finally put in the Clemson defense. Oklahoma, I mean, if you look at their totals, it's like they score 45 and give up 8 or 9 points a game. Now, who they played, really, okay, they haven't played. I think they played Baylor, but it might have been Texas. But either way, they played some Big 12 teams, and so yeah, I think they can win. Texas, good team. Oklahoma, good team. I think the game's even. I think you take the dog. I think this is a dead even game. Um, Profit. Any bad weather games today? That's what you want to play the under. You want to play the under in the wind games. Like if it's a very windy day, it's an under. Not necessarily snow's not an under. Rain maybe an under, but wind definitely is an under because they can't pass the ball, and then it's easy to play defense when you know they can't pass it. Fields looks like John Elway the other night. I don't know about that. Maybe Jim Elway. Notre Dame should give Louisville their first loss today. Yeah, I like Notre Dame in the game. Absolutely. Notre Dame, Duke, I think, is a much better team than Louisville. Now, watching the highlights of that game, I didn't realize Notre Dame won it with 10 seconds left in the game. They were down, I think they were down 14-13 or something, or 7-14. And what was the score? 21-14. So Notre Dame, I think, was 14-13 with like 30 seconds left, and they had the ball at the 20, and he handed it to the halfback, the big number 40, and he broke the tackle and went in for the touchdown. That's because you were scared of Hartman. You would have thought, oh, no, Hartman's going to beat me, play the pass, and then they ran it. So, yeah, but Louisville, I don't think's that good. They're good offense, but I don't think they're that good of a defense. Could you please retract that statement yesterday about Oklahoma State doesn't have a quarterback? Well, I mean, who did they play? They played Kansas State. Yeah, that's a strange game. I didn't see the game, but I know they beat Kansas State, which is surprising. Kansas State's usually a good team. If he had a good game, I'm happy for him. His stats were weren't great. And when I looked at touchdowns to interceptions and stuff like that, maybe they ran more. I do like the coach. Gundy's a good coach. So, that's good. If they have a quarterback, we can start betting them over when they play these other high-scoring, the Baylors and the Texas Techs and everything. So I always want the overs there, but good. Profit, just bet UL Monroe under every week for the rest of your life, and it'll be a UL Monroe. I don't know. They're pretty. They got South Alabama today. They're a W team with a weak defense, and the over/under is 51. So you're playing that under 57, Bobby? UL Monroe, South Alabama. Let's go through the Z teams real quick. So Middle Tennessee was favored as a Z team, lost. Sam Houston was a W and covered against my Liberty team. Illinois, Nebraska, both were W teams. No, I think Nebraska's an under team. They don't score a lot, but Nebraska won a low-scoring game. So the Illinois, the W team, lost. We've got UTSA. I don't believe it's a W team with Frank Harris. Temple's a W. We got Northern Illinois is a W to Akron, and they're favored at Akron, which makes no sense. Ball State's a Z team to Eastern. Kent is a Z team to Ohio. We've got Connecticut's a Z team to Rice. Florida Atlantic's a W team. Their quarterback's out, favored against Tulsa. Now, there you go. That's a W team or a Z team favored, and against a pretty decent Tulsa's an over team. So I would think you're going to get, I think Tulsa an 8.5 is a winner. I mean, that's what you're looking for. That's what I've been doing with like James Madison. You got to have a decent team, but Tulsa has offense. Arizona State's a W, but the quarterback's been injured, which means they don't score a lot. But with the quarterback, you saw what they did to USC. It was 42-28 or something. So they're starting to score when they got their quarterback. So they're really not a W team. Southern Miss is a W team, and it's the same as the other game. They're a W, which means they don't score a lot. They're favored by 2.5 over Old Dominion. There you can probably take Old Dominion at 8.5. They're not that bad, even though it's a strange name, but we don't care about that. We care about Southern Miss is a favorite, and they're a W. They don't score a lot. So the theory is they're not going to score a lot. If they're favored, how are they going to, so when I look at this 2.5 and I can get 8.5, the theory would be they'd have to win by like 14, 17 to win. And can Southern Miss score that much? And Old Dominion, pretty good offense. Both teams have no defense. But that's where you could have a live dog in that instance. And that's it. So, and I try to be careful ranking them. Usually the Z teams don't hit 20. They score 15, they give up 35, 40. Boom. If they score 35 and get 35, they're the over. And then if they score like 22 and give up 35, then I make them a W. Probably the same thing, but they score a little bit more. So it's all for me because I want to see what I'm doing here. Bobby, it's been over a month and I still can't get over that offense in the UL Monroe Army opener. Yeah, but then if you look at Army, they've been scoring a lot, so we were right. But Army needed a few weeks to get used to it. But if they played them now, they'd kill them, right? So it's just look at New Mexico State, UMass. If they played today, New Mexico State would kill them. They just killed Florida International 34-17. How they fucking lost to Mass is unbelievable. Same thing with the Army. It's just we had it perfectly, but again, being week one, they weren't used to the new offensive coordinator. Now they are. Who does Army got today? Army has BC. They're laying 3. I think it's a noon game, so it's already probably kicked. 3.5. BC's an over team, so this should probably be a high scoring game, and it's only 49. But that's what happens, Bobby, and that's why you bet money management. So that's our next thought is, okay, we figured out what games to bet. How do we bet it? And I went over this late last night. I was so tired that I stumbled onto this whole thing of games yesterday, and really good with women. We'll talk about that too. But the way you bet, as I explained, you make so much money. You have so much money. You pay your bills. That's your first priority. Pay your rent, pay your mortgage, feed the kids, pay your utilities and your food bill. Leaves you X. Everything over X is expendable money. Go on vacation, you buy gold, you bet your football, maybe you invest in stocks, whatever. You can afford to lose that as long as you have money to pay rent and everything else. So with that said, you have a payroll. So let's say you have $3,000 a month left over after paying your bills. Again, it's a month. So you got 5 months of football, let's say. So let's say you say I have 15,000 as my bankroll. Let's call it 25. You have 25,000 as your bankroll. So you're going to bet chunks of it, and the goal here is to increase the 25 to 30 to 40 to 50. That's what you're trying to do. Don't look at the bets. It's all about the bankroll. It's 25,000. What do you bet? So you bet maybe $50 a game, and the games you really like a lot. So let's say it was me. So just a regular game, I bet 50 on, but my 15 unit games, I might bet 75. And on my locks, I probably bet anywhere between 100 or 150. So like Oklahoma, it's not a lock. I like it. I probably would bet 75 on it. Just in this world. Okay. Then the weekend ends. You won a little bit. Now you're 25,000 is 26,000. As opposed to 30, now the $50 bets turn into $100 bets, the locks turn into $250 bets, and on and on and on. Then you're up to 35,000, and now you're betting maybe 150 a game and 500 on the locks. So as you go, now you're increasing your bet. This way, if a lock loses, I didn't kill myself. I bet what I could afford to lose, and it's just a small portion of the bankroll because I have so many winners, and it gets better during the year. I don't want to kill myself. If I have a $25,000 bankroll, I don't want to bet 10,000 on a game. As Bobby's saying, it could be like the Army, it could be like New Mexico State. We loved it, but I'm not going to let the one bet interfere with me playing last week's lock. See, that's what I'm waiting for is that Ram dog, Seattle dog lock. That I hammered really good in 2 teasers, and it won. But that's what I'm waiting for. So that I bet a little bit more on. But you don't get that every week, which is what I try to explain. You get the pocket aces when they hit, and then that's what you're waiting for. So you just kind of, okay, we like these. We bet them accordingly. But it's like the stock market. Do you put all your money on Microsoft? No, because it could run it. You put a little bit on it and a little bit on Amazon, but you don't empty your bank and put it on it. And then what happens if Amazon, something they're doing is illegal with China, and the next thing you know, their stock's at zero. And then you're out attacking all the Wall Street guys for losing all your money. Bobby Bo, Lee Course will just put on the Texas mask. Who cares? Wait. Is class over? Class isn't over. What do you want to know, Jay? Bobby Bo drank too much beer yesterday. You think 15 minutes in the sun will do the job? Well, have a lot of water, too. Jay, do you own gold and silver? There you go, Bobby. What do you want to know, Jay? I mean, I've went through all the games in college. I went through the lines and the injuries. That's why I came on about 10:30. But what is it? Just ask the question, because I've really done with college. I've went through the lines, the picks, Oklahoma, some of the other games, and the injuries. So what else can I help you with? Take Oklahoma. It's already kicked off. It's 12:08. So you're probably looking at the 3:30 games and the night games. So class is not over. I go, it's only been an hour 30. I'll go another hour, but it's also gold and economics and this. So this is part of the class is you've determined how to pick the game. Now you got to determine how to bet the game, which is the critical thing that most people don't get. They go broke because they don't know how to bet. They bet too much, and then they go broke when they shouldn't be betting. Like if you have a $5,000 bankroll, you should be betting $25 a game, getting it up to $7,000 to $10,000. That's the goal. LSU just received the kickoff. Yeah, thank you, Bobby. I appreciate that. Yeah, I mean that's why it's live, Jay. Go ask whatever you want. And look at Profit. He came in, So just ask your questions. I mean, you can still watch the game and do this, but go ahead. Here's what I'm playing for the early games. Oklahoma, good. Ohio State and Louisville. Minus 130, Oklahoma plus Missouri and then Wisconsin. So you got Louisville or Wisconsin, or you got 2 different ones. So you're minus 130. See, that's the problem. What are the odds on a 4-team 10-pointer? At what point do you get plus money on these 10-pointers? Maybe we'll play a 5 or 6-team 10-pointer, as long as we can use totals. Something where we actually get like you bet 100, you win 200. I used to play 5-team teasers with somebody. I used to play 5-team teasers and get like 200, bet 100 or bet 100, win 200. We used to hit those all the time. 5-team teasers are nothing for me. And I think you'd bet $50 and win 250 or something like that. You get pretty good odds. I like those cards in Vegas too. You can pick like 7 teams and, you bet $50 and win 300. I love those. I clean up on those. Well, you got LSU's quarterback, and you don't know how good Missouri is. 13-point teasers. You don't need 13-point teasers. With me, you need 6-point teasers. Yeah, don't worry about LSU, Bobby. You don't worry until Missouri's got a 21-0 lead. Then you start worrying. Otherwise, don't worry. So this will be your key, Bobby. How does the LSU defense stop Missouri? They got a pretty good quarterback in Cooks, but it's not a team that you see a lot in Missouri. But anyway, so really I was talking a lot about games yesterday, but it was the last half hour of the show. So we either go like 3 hours and 20 minutes into my show or my class, or you can redo it today. So real briefly, the game is the attack on Wall Street guy. He didn't understand the game. He didn't understand the rules of it. In other words, if I give you 60 grand and you put it in real estate trust, he just thinks he's going to make money. He doesn't get when people can't afford the adjustable rates go up and he can't afford the mortgage and they default, his rent goes to zero, he gets fucked. He didn't understand that part of the game, because if he knew the housing market was going down, he would have sold out of it. As far as I know, you could get in and get out. You can buy a 5-year CD and still get out, and there's a penalty. That was the game. There's a stock market game. Well, there's the Madoff game. So everybody in the Madoff game had to realize that I'm getting 15% a month. How am I getting it? Don't ask me, Madoff says. So what are you, a fucking idiot? The guy won't tell you? Who doesn't tell you? So he doesn't tell you, and that's the game. As long as I get money in, you'll get money out. I'm not investing crap. I don't have gold. I don't have anything. I'm getting money from other people and giving it to you. That's the game. Oh, okay. So it's a Ponzi scheme. Okay. So I keep getting 15%. So at what point do I say, okay, I want my money out? Give me my money out. I see this housing crisis crash coming. I better get my money out. In other words, what will stop the game? No more money in. That's what stops the game. Okay. What are we doing now? The stock market, the whole dollar thing. What stops this? Inflation. They won't tell you. They tell you inflation's price increase. It's not. It's the dollar being hurt. Well, if that's the case, that's the game. Now we see the game unfolding. Wait a minute. The dollar's crashing. The stock market will crash when the $90 trillion from the foreigners pull their money out. So what they do is they'll sell their stock, get the money, and then what do they do with it? So I'm a Swiss guy with $1 trillion, or Swiss bank. I get $1 trillion US dollars going out. I need to pull the money out. I get the money back. What do I do with the money? Well, I'm either going to buy gold or silver, or I'm going to lose it. And that's what's happening. I got 90 trillion out. That's the game. The game ends with the inflation. The inflation's here. The game's ending. It's just taking a while to end, but it's ending. So if you understand the game, then you will understand what to do. But nobody tells you what the game is, especially women, which we'll talk about in a minute. There we go. Roll Sooner Boomers. Good man, Prophet. See, that's good, as we know they can move the ball. Now watch Texas. They won't be able to move the ball on this defense. This is like the Clemson defense times 2. They are going to have a hard time moving the ball, I believe, against Oklahoma. If not, we can see Oklahoma can move the ball on Texas. That's all we care about. That's why you take the dog. That's the game. So there's a game in everything. There's a game in poker. There's a game in football betting. There's a game in stocks. There's a game with women. The game with women's much more complex because we don't understand all the rules of the game. So when you meet a girl, you have to determine if what you want, what's going to be the game with her. So what do you want from her, right? Does she want money from you? So let's look at her point of the game. She sees you. She wants to be with you because you have money. You don't want to play that game. My friend, I'm not going to name her, she wants money from me. And I said, no. Like Jenna and Daria aren't after my money. This other girl is. And so I don't want to play the game with her, right? But I want to play with Jenna and Daria. That's what I mean by it. So you set the rules and then you see, is it mutual? And then do you play the game, right? And then the game with Jenna, it's one way, but we agreed. We like the rules. We enjoy playing the game. Same thing with Daria. So with girls, you meet them and then you kind of say, this is the game I want to play with you. And they say, this is the game I want to play with you. Now, sometimes it messes and you play, and other times what she wants isn't what you want, and what you want isn't what she wants, and the game's over. You don't play the game with her. Basically, the game is all the rules. What happens? What's going on? In football, we know the rules. Stocks, we know the rules. Stocks go up because of profits. The real estate trusts, you got to be careful with that, with the people not paying their mortgage. The dollar, inflation kills it unless it's backed by gold. So now we see this new game forming. We see our game, the dollar crashing. We see this new game with Russia wanting to back the ruble by gold. Oh, I want to join that game because they can't fuck their money up because it's backed by gold. So I'm going to buy more gold because now I see the rules of the game is that the gold is going to go up because of the them having gold-backed currency makes the demand for gold go up because they need a higher price because they can't print all this currency at 2,000 an ounce. They need gold to go up to 10, 20,000 an ounce to cover all the dollars that they want to print. And then they want gold for their oil. So they don't want to sell India oil and get rupees. And then how do they get them into rubles? Well, they got to buy US, which they can't. So they're saying, no, we want gold, India, for the oil. And what is India has no choice because they need the oil. And so that also helps. All right, Bobby Bo, you and your LSU, you keep overvaluing them. You undervalue Missouri, but we'll see. It's not done yet. LSU did what they'll do last week. They scored a ton of points, but now you're getting a look at Missouri, and we can see how strong they are, and then you can go from there. But good luck. You're getting a half a point or a point, so it's not like you're laying too much. LSU, will score, but this will be another high scoring game. Over under was 64 on it. So yeah, you'll be in the 30s. Don't worry. So anyway, so that's the game with the gold is the US is keeping the gold price down. So you got to understand that part of the game. It's manipulated down by JP Morgan because they print the dollars and they can't compete with gold. So if they keep gold down, you'll stay in this, and they want you in this. And that's why the stock market guys, the Wall Street guys, want you in this because it's all part of the banking. So the banks want you in this. The Wall Street guys want you to buy stocks or bonds, which is this, or put your money in the bank and get your money and get CDs and annuities and stuff. They want you in this. they don't want you in gold, so they keep the price of gold down. That's all part of the game. And our question is, when is that game over? We're tired of that game because we see gold is the buy, so we want to buy gold. We want to change games. We are tired of COMEX dictating the price, and it looks like it's blowing up. And I think what happens, I listened to Mark McGuire again yesterday, and some of the things made more sense, but he's basically saying, well, the price of gold will go up if they drain. Now, I think what he's trying to say in his stupid way is when there's no more gold, they're draining the gold out of COMEX, all the Chinese citizens who are buying it, it comes out of COMEX, whoever has the gold. And then there'll be no more gold in COMEX, I think, is when it ends, because they're supposed to be able to, if they do the derivative, it's supposed to be able to have the physical to back it. And when there's no more physical backing it, I think that's what ends COMEX. But he's not good at saying exactly what he means and in English, so we all understand what the fuck he's saying, which is why I was so frustrated. But again, I caught it driving and on the bike, so I got to listen to it again where I can really study it. But I think that's what it was. But again, so there's games with girls, there's games with the gold, there's games with money, there's games with the stock market, there's the football, there's playing poker. The game is, how does the other person tell you what they have? Are they bluffing? Are they not bluffing? That's what you have to figure out in the game. Playing craps, you have to figure out that when the 7 comes, if you've got the numbers placed, you lose. So I got to pull my money. If I hit the 8, the 9, and the 10, and I get money, I got to pull my money out before the 7 hits, because the 7's going to hit just like Madoff's going to fuck you. Just like the dollar's going out, that ends the game. So that's kind of what I came up with, and I was kind of excited, going, "Wow, that was a pretty good analogy." But that's so when you meet a girl, you want to date her or whatever with her, you've got to understand what the game is with her. What is she looking for? What does she want? What are you looking for? What do you want? And if you're both after the same thing, it works. And if you're not, then you don't play. You just end the game. Say, I'm not interested. So when a girl wants your money, you just end the game, right? Well, can you give me $1,000? Can you buy me a car? Game over. I'll look for a girl who doesn't want me to buy her car, or she'll play it where you'll buy her a car without her asking. But everything's a game, and you have to figure out the rules and understand it, and then you go. So I was really excited with that. Anyway, so gold, we know that with the dollar out and all the dollars being inflated all over the world, the only out is gold. It's the only money that has value. It's being suppressed, so we know that. So it's going to go. We know it has to go up. We don't know the time of it. It's not scheduled like the football games, right? We know the Oklahoma game started at noon. It'll be over by 3:15. We'll know who won, and off we go. And that's the same thing with, but we don't know that in gold. We don't know when the game ends. We don't know when they stop with, we don't know when they stop with the COMEX. When does that blow up? When does it stop being suppressed? Or maybe the new game of Russia having gold-backed currency and getting gold for oil starts a new game of gold, and then their game takes over for COMEX, and we get this $10,000 an ounce price of gold. And all we know is from Egon and Alligator is when it happens, it's going to happen quick. That's what Egon keeps saying. It's like putting water in the stadium, and after 43 minutes, it's only 7% full. In the last 7 minutes, it's completely full. So it's that exponential thing, and that's what's going to happen in gold. And the money will be wiped out, and the banks will be wiped out, and you got to realize that. So what we're trying to do here, these idiots are trying to bankrupt the dollar to go to CBDCs, but they don't understand, since they're not economists and they're all Keynesian, They think that the money will be good, which it won't be. The money will turn to zero. The only thing that'll save them is gold, and we're the only central bank not to have gold. What a bunch of fucking idiots. But if we understand that, then we're standing over here going, bad, we got the gold, you don't. And then we be quiet about it so they can't take it from us. But I don't think they will. If I was in China, I'd be worried because they are able in their savings accounts to buy gold. But then I'd be worried that the government knows I bought the gold and are they going to confiscate it from me? We're here, we go to the coin store and buy it. Nobody really knows if we bought it or not. So that's the other story. So I will go to the gold store today. I call it the gold store, the coin store, and see if they have any. And they only have any if people brought in some. If people need money, they bring it in and they sell it and they give them spot. So if they started buying it at this 1835, then they will have some for me to buy. Otherwise, they're trying to sell the 1950 they don't want to sell. So they don't even have it out because they paid 1950, but they can only get 1920 for it. So they're like, oh, we don't have any, which is a bunch of bullshit. I don't hate silver. What are you talking about? I got 600 ounces. How much can it's like having 3 steaks. I don't want steak anymore. I want the ribs. So the silver's still $25, but at 600 ounces, I'd rather buy more gold. As I said, when I go to Switzerland, I'd rather have a half ounce in my pocket worth $20,000. How many things of silver am I going to have in my pockets? I'll need a winter coat full of silver, full of the white containers to get to the same amount. So I'd rather travel lightly. That's kind of my thought. You said Tuesday gold store neglecting silver. No, they're not like neglecting it, but the price hasn't moved. So what's happened? The gold price went from 1950 to 1830. What does that mean? When somebody comes in the store to sell them their gold, they sell it at spot. So if the spot's 1950, Bobby walks in, here's a couple ounces of gold. They say, thank you. Here's 1950 an ounce for it. That's what they're paying. Now, they don't see that it dropped to 1835. Well, if it's 1835, they can only sell it for 1935, but they bought it for 1950. Therefore, they don't want to sell it. Now, silver has not gone like that. Silver didn't move. It's still $21 an ounce. Maybe it was 24. So they gave 24 and they sell it for 25. So they didn't get hurt by silver. So they got a lot of silver. So yeah, the silver's out there because they're not losing it. It didn't drop $100 an ounce like gold did. Gold is strictly because of the dollar going up. It's an algorithm dropping it. It is not real. Nobody in their right mind is selling it. All the central banks are buying it, and it's almost all gone out of COMEX, which I believe, if I read between the lines of Mark McGuire, that's what collapses COMEX. They don't have any more gold, therefore they can't do derivatives because they have to actually have the gold with the derivative. That's the problem. That's the bottom line, Mr. Stone Cold. So that's what the Chinese are doing, and the Russians are getting all the gold out. That blows it up. Russia comes out with their own gold price of $20,000, $30,000 an ounce. Because, by the way, they own 32,000 tons of it, and if it goes that high, they're the king. Well, China's the king, and then they're the queen because China has 60,000 tons. So times it instead of by 2,000 by 20,000. How rich are they? And that's what they're waiting for. China doesn't want to get blamed for it. They have other reasons, I guess. Russia doesn't give a fuck because we're sanctioning them, and they want us to blow up. So Russia is like, look, you're not trading with us. You're not letting us use the money. So fuck you. So they're coming out with the gold-backed ruble. I told that to Daria. I said, so soon when I give you, you'll be giving me money because soon the ruble will be backed by gold. And if I give you, $50 for 5,000 rubles a swimsuit, my $50 will buy $1 of your ruble once it's backed by gold. I I saw yesterday silver's around 21 something. Do you still talk with your coin guy when you go into the store, or is he? Well, I always talk with him. Is he clueless? Yeah. Um, with the coin, when you go to this, I always talk to them, but I know they're clueless. They're in there with the idea of it's a piece of inventory. If I buy it from Joe Blow for 1950, if the price is all right, let's say the price is 1850. If Joe Blow comes in and sells them the gold, they give him spot. They give him 1850. If Howard walks in wanting that, that's 1850 plus 100 is 1950. And I tell them, do you realize you're selling physical gold at paper gold prices? I don't think they have a clue what physical and paper are. And I don't think 99% of the world understands that there's paper gold and physical gold. I think they all think that the COMEX gold price is the physical price. It's not, it's the paper price. The problem is, where is the physical price? Why isn't there one? And why aren't anybody coming up with the physical price? Which pisses us off, because we know at the physical price, you'll never see 2000 is fantasy land. It's more like 20. And that's what when I tell people that, I go, oh, that's a fantasy price. Nobody understands. They all think the paper price is the physical price. So if we know it isn't, and we know there's apples and oranges, and we're on the orange side, all we can do is good. All I got to do is pay $1,900 for this $20,000-$30,000 ounce of gold. Okay, fine. Where's the line? Let me go get all my money and buy it. I mean, that's exactly what it is. But we understand there's a paper price and a physical price. We're waiting on the physical price from Russia and China, but they're the ones that are going to create it, because they're now going gold-backed currency, gold for oil. They'll need a higher gold price, so they're going to pump it up. That is happening very soon. So we see things that are happening that you go, well, it's been 50 years. Why hasn't it gone up? Because there's never been competition for COMEX. And all these Madoff guys who are in the gold, JP Morgan and everybody else in London, are doing a Ponzi scheme on it. And they're saying, oh, gold's not worth anything, don't buy it. Bullshit. But nobody's there to challenge it. How do you challenge a monopoly? With competition, which is what Russia and China are doing. The competition blows up COMEX, and there we go. And that is how you blow up a monopoly, with competition. That's why the Austrian economy works, because of the competition. You have choices, and the prices go down and the quality goes up. Like, try to buy golf clubs. There's how many different manufacturers? That's why the price is down, because all the different manufacturers. So that's, anything like that. So, I mean, I just went and bought my shirts up north, and polo's $100, and my sailboat one, Nautica, was $20. Even Brooks Brothers was $30, and yet polo's $100. Well, fuck you, Polo. I'm not going to buy you because you got a Polo player on it, when I can buy a Brooks Brothers or a Nautica for $20, $30. So fuck you. That's because of competition. That's what you want, is free market. That's not what we have in gold, unfortunately. Kenny Ewers threw a pick the first possession of the game. Very good. Profit. Oklahoma D is already forced 2 turnovers. That's why we bet the defense. I would never have bet this game if Oklahoma didn't have a good defense. Look at the stats. They give up 9-10 points a game. I don't care who you play. You give up 9-10 points a game, fuck. Michigan, I think, is the best at 6 or 7. That's why I didn't bet that game under, because I think Michigan's going to light up Minnesota, because their defense isn't very strong. And Michigan's been pouring up 40 points against weak teams. Well, Rutgers was probably the best team they played. Even big Nebraska, they got 45 on it. So they'll be in the 40s, and Minnesota probably will get shut out. And that's why I didn't take the under today. I took Michigan because of that. But that's you can't ignore Oklahoma giving up 9-10 points a game. You can't ignore it. now he's got the Clemson defense. That's why I made the bet. The revenge is also a part of it, and there's several variables, but that Oklahoma defense, just nightmare. So yeah, we're looking forward to that. But again, everything's the game, right? Women, what do they want? What's their game? What's our game? So you meet a nice looking girl, you want to have sex with her. She doesn't want to have sex with you, the game's over. Well, I'm looking for somebody that wants to have sex, but you don't want to have. Oh, I don't want to play the game with you. There's no point. I can't play a game with you if I want and you, it doesn't have to be sex, but anything. I want to watch football. I want to buy gold. I would have a hard time with the girl who is a Bitcoiner. I would have a hard time with a girl that's a liberal. I am not a liberal. I'm not, let's buy an electric car. If I'm with the girl and she wants an electric car, the game's over. But she would know that up front. I'm not into electric cars. I'm not a liberal. Not really a conservative. I'm an Austrian economist. This is what I stand for. I buy gold and silver. Now, does she meet me halfway and say, oh, yeah, I like that too? Or is she, nope, I'm a liberal. We got to, save the planet and buy electric. Goodbye. So you can't play the game with somebody like that. So you have to initially get the rules. So the rules are this: I like gold, I like sex, I don't like electric cars, and I don't like liberals. What now does that fit with your game? And if the girl's like, yeah, I don't like it either, now you got a game. If she doesn't like, if she's against you on those, game's over. But you ask that in the beginning of the game. You don't date her 6 months and then find out she likes electric cars. You set the rules of the game in the beginning. So she's attracted, you talk to her, and then this is what I like. And then they either go yes or they go no. If they go no, the game's over. Why waste your time with it? If you go, yeah, I don't want a girl who wants an electric car. She's out of her fucking mind. So I really don't want friends who like electric cars. So I have a very set, this is my game, and I'm very strong about my game. And you either like it or you don't. But I'll explain my game to you, why I like gold, why I don't like electric cars, and you play it. Otherwise, you're wasting your time. The other part of the game is why the games with girls usually don't last, why it's hard to marry them, is because you're going to see other girls. And they're going to see other guys, and they're going to want to talk to them or be with them, and you're going to see other girls. So again, that's got to be part of the game in the beginning. Well, if I see a hot girl, or am I going to be able to talk to her, or are you going to fit? Or if you see a guy that you want to talk to, that's okay. So you get that part of the game also, because that's human nature. It's like you don't just eat ribs all the time. Or me, I don't have General Chow every meal. I'll have a steak, I'll have salmon, I'll have tuna. It's different meals, and it's the same with women. It's different women. You see one, and then you see another, and you like them. She's attractive, she's nice. She likes gold and doesn't like electric cars. I want to talk to her. But that's human nature. You got to be kidding if this is the problem I see in marriage, that, oh, he cheated on me, or you watch these movies and the girl cheats on the guy, or the guy cheats on the girl, and it ends the relationship. And like, well, if they would have talked about it in the beginning and they would have said that's okay, then it's not a big deal. Then, yeah, okay, yeah, she's out with another guy today. That's okay, as long as she's happy, as long as she comes back. That's part of the game. But then if I see a girl, I can go be with her. We agree to that. Okay. So that's, I'm not saying right, wrong, or indifferent, but I am saying that then the game, you can keep playing the game. But eventually, if there's things, oh, I want money, I need 10 grand from you. Well, game's over. I'm not giving you 10 grand. I don't have it. And that's the problem. Look at it. Then you get divorced, and then you lose half your money, or she loses half the money if she has money. Again, you're fucked. So that's what it's a game. Everything's a game, and you got to realize is what is the rules of the game. And with different people, it's different games, and that's where everybody gets fucked up is they don't understand. Oh, she cheated on me. He cheated on me. Well, that should have been part of the game in the beginning. You can't do anything. Bobby, if I want to lay the smack down and she's not with that, then Bobby Bo is out the door. Game's over. How about these solar people? That doesn't bother me that much as long as I can still use electricity. But if I want to date a girl and she wants an electric car, I walk away. She's got to be really pretty and really into a lot of things for me to ignore it. So there are movements in the game. If she'll do certain things, oh yeah, you can see another girl, I'm going to see other guys, and we both agree to it, then you don't care if she's solar, right? So and if she's not after your money or she gives you money, then you might play a different game with her and go from there. LSU defense really is garbage. Well, you knew that, Bobby. Fucking Mississippi gave up 50 points. What do you think? You got a good defense giving up 50 to Ole Miss? So LSU to me, Bobby, and for our game, all you can do is bet them over. That's the only way you can bet LSU is over because they're going to score. So if LSU played Colorado and the over-under was 70, you'd be betting it over. A mother Mississippi. Yeah, well, why are you surprised? I don't know why you're still on LSU like they're the greatest team. Joe Burrow is not there. Chase isn't there. Jefferson's not there. It's like me with Iowa State. Okay, I played them under, and then I played them under again. Now I'm not playing them under. They got who did they got today? I mean, what you should be on is like Florida State. They got the defense, right? But you're missing that, right? They beat LSU, but you didn't go to Florida State. You stayed on LSU. The game's changed. LSU's not a good defensive team. Brian Kelly's a good offensive guy, not a defense. It's like the Bears in Washington. Why would you be surprised that they scored 70 points when neither team's got a defense? That's what you're looking at is, well, who's the good defense? Oh, Frisco. Well, I'd be surprised if Missouri put up 14 on Frisco because of their defense, right? So you've got to understand the team, and you're missing that. Ewers has 2 picks in the first 5 minutes of the game. That's good. LSU did score before, so it's now 15-7. Okay. Tua little brother is beating Ohio State. Okay, not surprised. That's why I didn't bet Ohio State because I don't like them yet. And that's where I go game to game. So I went Michigan instead of Ohio State because Michigan's defense is for real. And their offense is pretty good. And Minnesota is not very – they lost to fucking Northwestern 37-35. So that's why we look at the scores. That's why we figure out the teams. But that's what I'm talking about with the gold and the girls. The girls, you got to figure out the game. Are they Georgia? Or are they LSU with a bad defense? So the girl you're after, what is she? And that's what you got to figure out before you waste your time. So if she's into electric cars and wants one, you walk away from her. But you should know that up front. That's the conversation in the beginning. Do you like electric cars? Do you like that's what you're trying to find out to figure out what type of game you are. So when I'm with Jenna, it's fine. She doesn't bother. I give her some gold. She's happy. We talk about everything, and everything's good with us. We kind of understand each other. She asked for money, but not huge money. And I know she's in the Ukraine. So I understand the game. I'm going to have to give Jenna 100 here, 150 there. When we meet for vacation, I give her a few hundred more so she can get back and forth with the cabs and the trains when she needs food or when, I realize with Jenna, I got to help her out. She's not working. It's the fucking Ukraine in the middle of a war. So I get that. Same thing with Daria. I got to help her with food and rent. Okay, I get that, but it's not too expensive. Where some of the other girls want a lot of money. Well, like Kenzie, she wants money to meet. I said, fuck you, Kenzie. If you really want to meet me, okay, come and meet me, and then I'll give you some money if that's what you need to meet me. Because I know all girls want money. But the game with Kenzie, she doesn't want to play. She said, no, you got to give me the money up front. Well, I don't know, it's you. So in our game, you've got to give me a picture and let's get on Skype so I can see you knowing you're Kenzie. And then I can at least, otherwise, if I just give money out, I don't know who I'm giving it to, probably the Chinese or the Russians. Why would I give money out if I don't know who you are? So if you won't send me a picture or a phone call, I don't know who you are. I won't give you the money. I don't want to play that game. I'm not going to play a game I don't know who you are. Jenna, I know. Daria, I know. Irina, I know. So the girls I know and I've been with, then do I want to play the game with them? So that's really the whole key to it. What type of game are you going to play? But with Kenzie, I'm not going to play that game because I don't know who I'm talking to. And all she's got to do is present herself, do a 5-minute Skype, send a 2-minute video on WhatsApp. That's all she's got to do, but she won't do it. Well, okay, that doesn't work for me. I'm not going to play that game. That's what she doesn't understand. She wants to play a game where she doesn't show herself, leads me to going, then she's not really real and I don't know who it is. So why would I give money to somebody I don't know who it is? So I don't. And she's mad because of that. And I said, fuck you. I'm not going to. Then show yourself. Send a picture. You can't even send a picture. I mean, it's ridiculous. So again, I don't play that game with Kenzie. But with Jenna, I've met and she sends me pictures all the time. And we meet and I'll pay for her plane ticket. I email it to her. She gets it. I go to Barcelona. She's there waiting in the hotel. There we go. So I trust her and everything's fine in our game. So I get our game and she gets the game and she doesn't push. I don't think she'd ever push for an electric car or all this stuff. Not to my knowledge. She doesn't care. She just wants to be happy. She says, I make her happy. I make her life happy or better or whatever. Well, that's all I'm trying to do. So that's why you got to be careful with the girl. She starts asking for the money. Mackenzie, I'm not going to give you the money. Now, if we meet, that's a different story. If we meet, then I can determine if you're real and what do you need. And then, I understand the game. I got to help her out. Phil doesn't understand that game. He thinks you don't give money to the girls. And I'm like, well, you got to give money to the girls because of the competition, because the other guy will if they're pretty enough. If they're not pretty, you don't have to. But if they're like Jenna or Daria and they're pretty girls, you got other guys who are going to give them money. So you've got to compete with them. And if you don't think you got to compete, you can't even start the game, right? You don't ever go to Ann Arbor, Professor? Yeah, I do once in a while. The football games, maybe an Ohio State game, maybe Penn State, I might go. But otherwise, I've been to games there. I've been to the coin shop there in Ann Arbor where I used to buy gold. But this other place is right down the road. So why go all the way to Ann Arbor, which is about 25 minutes, when I can go 5 minutes? And it's roughly the same price. I think Ann Arbor was like $1 cheaper. But then I got to drive and my time and my gas. So, okay, I'll just go. The guy's got it. The Ann Arbor guy was a little bit like, oh, I don't have gold. I just called you up. He used to piss me off. I'd call him up and say, I'm coming. Do you have gold? And he'd say, yeah. And can you save me a couple ounces? I'm on my way. If I'm not there in a half hour, then go ahead and sell it. So, okay. I'd get there. He said, I don't have any gold. I don't save it for people. I just called you. You said it's a half-hour drive. I got to make sure you have it. I don't want to drive up there and then you don't have it, and I've just wasted my time. So he pulled the gold out, and then I bought it. But I don't like the games. When I go to my store 5 minutes away, he's always got it all out. And okay, give me 2 of these, give me 3 of these, and give him the money, and I walk out. So I know what it is. It a bad area where the Michigan campus is, or at the big house, or is it a nice and far from Detroit? It's nice. It's like a good campus. Yeah, you wouldn't have any problems there. Is it far from Detroit? Well, from downtown Detroit, it's about 45 minutes. From where I live, I'm in the suburbs, it's about 20 minutes. I just get on the highway and just go right on the highway, and about 20-minute drive, you're there. So it's very clean. It's not a lot of crime. It's a nice looking campus. The stadium is really unique because it's dug down. So you go into it and then you got to look down, 200 yards to the stadium. So they dug it in pretty deep. But yeah, it's a nice, it's good to go to a game there. What can I say? It's exciting, especially an Ohio State game and stuff. But no, it's a good area. You park your car, you walk maybe a half mile to the game. There's no threat. Well, I mean, I don't know if I suppose I could go into the library and I don't need a ID as far as going to the football game. As long as you have a ticket, you can walk around there. We've been to stores and restaurants there. It's not a big deal. So I don't know what you mean open to the public. So I assume if I found where the library is, I could study there, but I could just as easily go to a restaurant and order a burger and study my football from there. So I don't think that's an issue. Anyway, so that's games, but there's games with women is the most difficult because you've got the gold game. Once you understand, you understand. They print the COMEX. Russia's coming to blow it up, so we buy gold because it's going to go up, and we want to get out of the dollar. We know that game when they inflate the dollar, it goes to zero. So we understand the rules of the game. The real estate trust guy from Attack on Wall Street didn't understand the rules, didn't understand the 7 out as in craps, didn't understand if people don't pay their mortgages, his real estate trust is worthless, and he could have sold it, but he didn't understand the rules of the game. He thought, I'm going to make 8% annually, no risk. And it was a huge risk, especially since they're giving out mortgages to people with bad credit and no jobs, making a lot of these terrible. And that's what Clinton did. And as soon as Clinton did that, I knew what was coming. As soon as he said anybody could get a loan, and he was suing them if they wouldn't give them the loan. What is that? The government's going to sue the bank for not giving a loan to somebody who doesn't have a good credit score. What the fuck? So when they all went, when they're all crashing, the government had to bail most of them out because it's their fault. If they did promise, they would bail them out. They can't do that now because of the inflation and the debt. So the debt, they can't just print $10 trillion to bail out the banks. They don't have it. And the 10 trillion they give won't be worth anything. You're the professor, so I don't think you need a ticket. Well, thank you, Bobby. Yeah, I'm sure they're happy, when I get there. And the guy, hey, I get on the big screen. Hey, there's a professor in row 29. The only thing I can tell you is if you ever go to a game, U of M, and I've been to the San Diego Charger game, do not sit in the first 25 rows. You can't see shit. You're down. I was at a San Diego game, and you're down. You go down to like row 5 or 6. The players are in your way because you're flat, and then the players are standing on the sideline. You can't see shit. So that's the problem. And at U of M, you're really fucked because it goes all the way down. And so you're in row 1. You think you got good seats, and all you see is the back of the lineman. Plus, you're too low to really see the plays for him. If you're higher up, like row 25, 30, you can see the receivers doing their routes and the plays and everything else and the defense. But if you're too low, you can't see the play. So that's the problem with it. Anyway, so that's what you have to understand is the games. You have to understand craps, how it's played, poker, women, money, gold, what begins and ends the game. What are you looking for in the game? So the biggest problem is women. That was the problem with the girl in Alabama. She never talked. I didn't know what the game was. I didn't know if she liked me or not. I didn't know if she, you try to talk to her, she wouldn't talk to you. So I could never figure out her game. I tried, but I couldn't figure it out. So you just walk away from it. that's what happens. So you can usually tell. You get a smile or something. I mean, she did smile at me, but I had no idea what the game was. That's what I was trying to figure out. So I thought by betting the Super Bowl and giving her 100 that she wouldn't take it as a sexual advance more than I'm just trying to make you happy and figure out what our game is. So I never could figure her out. She said she was married, but she didn't have a ring and never said she was married to me. And I'm thinking, why isn't she telling me these things? So anyway, that's the problem. So if you can't figure out the game with the girl, walk away. That's all you can do is just try to talk to them, try to figure out, hey, I'm into gold. And if she says, yeah, I'm into gold, then you have an idea of, okay, I can play the game with her. And off you go. Yeah, that woman was crazy. Well, that's the problem with it, right? She couldn't tell that I liked her. I mean, I'm smiling at her. How you doing? You can't. What are you, an idiot? So I didn't know if she was gay or just stupid or just shy. And I don't know. And then she goes to HR. She doesn't come to me. Like, what the fuck is that? I don't want to hurt your feelings. Fucking hurt my feelings. Lying to me really makes me feel better. That's what I hate about girls. They don't sit there and, I don't want to hurt your feelings. Oh, fuck you. What do you mean hurt my feelings? What does that mean? So you're going to lie to me and that's going to make me feel better? Look, just say yes or no. Yeah, I want to play the game with you, or I don't want to play the game with you. Okay, fine. It's fine. I'll move on. That's why there's a lot of girls, and you figure out the ones you want to play the game with. Daria and Jenna, I want to play the game with. Irina, I can't. We got a different game because she's married and she just had the baby. So we play a different game, which is fine. I don't mind, but I know we both know the rules of our game, and that's fine. Me and Jenna and Daria know the rules of that game. They're a little different, obviously. But that's the difference. And it's all games, and it's all, even with the guys in the sauna, the communists in the hot tub, I know what the game is. You're a communist. I don't want to play, period. I don't even fuck around with them. I don't want to play, boom. Hey, do you guys have gold? No, we don't like gold. Okay, game's over, and I don't talk to them again. Once I see them and they are poo-pooing my gold because they don't trust me, I guess, or they don't think I'm smart, whatever it is, or they don't want to hear that the dollar's collapsing and they get all scared. I don't want to hear it. Game's over. So that game took 2 minutes to play. Do you have gold? And if they say no, I don't want to talk about it. The game's over. And I don't want to talk. I'm not talking to them to be friends with them. This is the part. I had one guy I was talking about gold the other day, and then I see him in the locker room yesterday. He goes, "Hi, how you doing?" And I'm like, "Who the fuck are you?" Like, I had no idea who he was because I don't pay attention. I'm only trying to educate him on gold. I'm not paying attention to who he is. We haven't talked names. I don't know him that well. Now, do we play a little bit bigger game is another story, but I'm tired of the fake people. So I don't play games with most people. Mostly girls, that's a different story, but otherwise I don't. Touchdown, Missouri. Well, you need a big comeback, Bobby Bo. Maybe next time you'll start playing LSU over, and then you don't care. Then you just want points. But obviously, this Cooks guy must be pretty good if they're scoring on, LSU's not, So understand this, Bobby Bo. LSU is an over team, which means they can score and they have no defense. You can never bet LSU again because their defense sucks and the team will score on them. Even if they play Vanderbilt, you've got to play the game over because LSU can't stop anybody. I keep losing money betting LSU, and I keep trying to tell you. And it's like, how do I get through to you? I told you the first week against Florida State, play the dog. No, I got to play LSU, and they lose by 20. And then we keep going, and you played them against Mississippi. Now you played them against Missouri. At what point do you realize They're not a very good team. They're not an A team. They're an over team. They have no defense, which makes it extremely hard to play a team with no defense. And that's what you're trying to do. Missouri's not a bad team. Missouri is a B team. They have a good defense and they have a good offense. They got a good quarterback. So you got to realize all that. Wish I had a closer coin spot here. How far is your coin spot? But I mean, stay away from JM bullion. I think you can do SD bullion or just go eBay. I think I would go on the bullion site, see what the price is, go on eBay, see what the price is, and whatever's cheaper, buy. But you got to do that. Now, the question I'm asking you as teacher to student is, did you redo your contract in gold? Instead of the dollars you're getting from, what is it, the Mets or the Pirates, you did the long-term one, which you didn't realize the inflation's eating away at your contract. The money you made in the first year of the contract is far more than the money you're making now because of inflation. You're getting inflated dollars. You need to call your attorney and say, okay, I don't know how much time you have left on it. From now on, I want gold, not dollars. Because you're getting fucked. You're getting far less money you're getting inflated dollars. So instead of $100, you're getting 60. But if you got gold, you're getting more than the 100 as gold goes up. And then you have the gold. You don't have to go buy it. And what do you need the dollars for? So that's the point, or get half and half. But you need to not keep taking the dollars because you're getting killed on the inflation. So just food for thought, trying to help you. Anyway, that's why I left Alabama. There was absolutely no gold store there. There was one guy who only bought, another guy who, when he gets it in, he can sell it. And I'm like, well, what if you don't get it? And then he's looking at the spot price. So when the spot price went up, then he had, and he's going to sell it. And when the spot price was low, he didn't have. So I was like, fuck this. I remember I would call up my Michigan guy and he would mail it to me. And I did that 3 or 4 times where I called him up, said, okay, give me 2 ounces, give me 20 ounces of silver, use my credit card. He sent it. There's a small FedEx charge, no sales tax, and off we went. And they knew me, so they kept sending it to me. I would advise you to do that if you can, but if they have, and this is the key point, they're running out of supply. And therefore, you're not going to be able to get it at this low price. And you have to realize that. So that's the other kicker. And that's why y'all have to buy more silver, because there's not going to be a lot of gold around as the central banks buy it all. Luke. Hey, Luke, what's going on? One day closer. Yes. If she was shy or just too stupid, that was funny, Professor. Well, but that's what it was. There's a lifeguard now, and she's kind of attractive to me. Got this type of girl I like, but she doesn't talk. She reminds me of the Alabama girl, and I look at her and I go, oh, she's attractive. And you try talking to her, she doesn't look at you. And either she's very shy or doesn't like men. I haven't decided yet. And so another lifeguard came in. Every 20 minutes they switch. And this one I'm talking to a mile a minute because we can talk to each other. Like, she's not my type, but she's good. So we talk. We were talking about Barcelona and we were talking about Picasso and everything. I couldn't talk to the other girl about it because she's closed. And that's what I was saying. So the girl who's kind of more open gets a lot more attention because it's easy to talk to. The girl that's either shy or just quiet or closed off, you can't even have a conversation with. So what do you do with her? So you just move on. So girls like that get what they have coming. I'm very open and honest, so people like talking to me. But if you're just too shy to talk or just don't want to talk to people, nobody's going to talk to you because it's so hard to talk to you. They don't talk to you. But this other girl I hadn't seen in months, and she was there and we were talking, and she said she went on a Mediterranean cruise. And I said, I'd prefer going because I don't want to run back to the boat every day. I did that I took Carmen to the south of France, and we're in Cannes. So we took a boat to Monte Carlo. We took a boat to Saint Tropez. And the problem was you had to be back at the boat by 3 o'clock. So we left at like 10 in the morning. We're in Monte Carlo. You have to be back by 3. Okay, fine. But again, that's sort of like a cruise, right? You took the boat, and I don't like that. I wanted to just be there and not look at the clock. When I'm ready to go, I go. And that's the problem with the cruise. You got to go back on board, or they're going to leave without you, and then you're fucked. So I told her I'd rather have been in Barcelona for the week, and then I found there was a Picasso museum, which I didn't even know Picasso was there. When I go to Amsterdam, when I'm not with the girls, I go to the Van Gogh Museum. It's beautiful, and that's what this painting is. This is a poster, but this is a Van Gogh that I got at the Van Gogh Museum. I hope you can see it. And there's the other one here, the blue one. That's a Van Gogh. So it's just a poster for €3 at the time, but I can bring back Van Goghs and Picassos. But again, I didn't, so those. But if you're just on the boat, you don't even know where to go. You don't even know what restaurant. Once you're there a while, oh, this is a nice restaurant. This is a nice place to go. And then you find, oh, there's the Picasso Museum. Well, you don't know that on the boat. That's what we were talking about. But it was an easy talk, and that's the point. But there's the shy girl, or she doesn't want to talk to you, girl. You don't know where you stand with her. You don't know what the game is, and it's ridiculous. Anyway, that's kind of what happens. Bobby Bow. Is that the one that says, here's the gold guy when you walk in? No. That's my friend Chelsea. She just got married. So I owe her a quarter ounce of gold, but she had like a little private ceremony because she couldn't afford a big wedding. And she hasn't been at work. So I said, well, I got a quarter ounce for you for I'll bring it in when you're back, or we can meet. So she's all excited to get a quarter ounce of gold. It's the perfect gift, day, wedding, bar mitzvah. It's a perfect. I don't know anybody who doesn't want gold, even if these are these. Now, the guy who I have oil stocks, believe me, if I gave him an ounce of gold, he'd be tickled pink. They might not understand it, but they know if they got it, they'd be excited. That's the problem with these turkeys. So with the girls, you have to get one that, as I say, you want to play the game with. So she's got to be friendly and nice and somewhat attractive. Doesn't have to be a 10. She could be a 6. But if she talks well and you want to be around her and she does what you like and she is in the gold and not into electric cars, then that takes part of it. So that's where you are with it. But that's the whole point. Some guys understand it. Maryland is shitting down the Buckeyes right now. It doesn't surprise me. The Buckeyes don't have a good offense. Prophet took Ohio State, and I just shook my head. I didn't like them, and I don't think I gave the appearance, because some of my picks, I might say, to play the game, but I never gave the impression that the line on Ohio State went from 20 to 17. They're both A teams. I says, we'll see how good Maryland is. And Maryland apparently is an A team. They haven't played anybody, but they've been impressive, beating Michigan State and Indiana. And Ohio State beat Notre Dame. So now you got to curious how good Notre Dame is when. But I think with Hartman, Notre Dame's much better. I think the coach is terrible and making bad play calls. So anyway, that's good, and that's what you do. So that's what you got to understand, and it's not just women. Women, you add the sex to it, but it's just people. Look what I go through with the gold guys. They don't like gold. The game's over. And if it is a game, right? What are the rules? And with everybody, it's a different rule. Me and Bobby play the game. Okay, we both enjoy the game. Me and Phil, I didn't like the way he kept, I don't give money to girls, and you got too personal. That's not your business, Phil. That's not why we're here. That's why he got shut down. I didn't like the game that he was playing. So, I don't want to silence people, but they're still not blocked. They can still be listening. Phil can still come on and hear all my gold and football picks. It's not that, but he just can't comment because his comments are not what I want to, it's not the game I want to play with. I think Prime will get back to winning tonight against Arizona State. I'm not so sure. He's got to go to the desert, and Arizona State is not that bad. Again, they all hate Dion, and Arizona State played USC pretty good. So I don't know that it's that easy for Prime, but they should win. But don't be surprised if they don't, especially with what's going on. Phil probably yells, well, we know Phil doesn't help girls out, doesn't give money to girls, probably doesn't get any girls because women they date you for the money. You've got to pay for sex one way or the other, either directly or indirectly. So if you have sex with a girl and she doesn't charge you for sex, you're taking her dinner, you're taking her shopping, you're buying her things, so you're paying for it indirectly, right? But they don't like when they don't want to charge you for the sex because they don't want to look like prostitutes, right? So they won't take it directly. But if you didn't take them to dinner and you didn't take them shopping, that's a whole different ballgame. Or at least that's how I look at it. You're kind of paying one way or the other. And, that's the way they are, and that's fine. That's the game, and you understand the game. You understand you got to help the girl out. You're taking her to dinner. You're not making her pay. You're taking her shopping. Maybe a few things she might buy, but you're helping her out with that. I go shopping with Jenna. I pay. We go to dinner. I pay. We get the cab. I pay. I don't expect her to pay. So, that's the way it is with the girls. And that's fine. You have to understand that going in, that you're going to do that. And if you don't want to do that, then good luck finding a girl, because you're not going to. That's how girls are. They want to be taken care of by their man. That's how they look at it. You're my man. You take care of me. At least that's how the European girls look at it. That's how Daria and Jenna both look at it. You're my man, and I need help, and I'm coming to you. I expect you to help me. And that's the way the game works. The money, we'll have the sex, and that's it. You're always paying for the sex, any way you look at it. There's no way around it. Phil don't pay. Remember, he said that they can buy him lunch. Yeah, well, I assume he's got a big line of girls wanting to buy him lunch. Now, unless he's Phil, who played pro football, that's the only kind of weird thing. Well, you probably had that, Bobby. You're a professional, and the girls line up so they can say, I had sex with, whoever, Joe Namath. All the girls would line up so they could say, I had sex with Joe Namath. And he probably didn't have to pay. So that's kind of the out if you're like a star. It's a lot like Tom Cruise probably doesn't pay, or Paul Newman probably doesn't pay, or any of these, Brad Pitt. I would assume he doesn't pay for it. They but they're using him so they can say, I had sex with Brad Pitt. There's no relationship there. It's just I had sex. So they're just doing it to say it's more of a status thing. So people like that don't have to pay, or maybe they do in the long run. Like Kobe then he gets a rape charge, and then he's got to come up with all this money. So he ended up paying a lot, where instead of that. Maybe it is Phil Mickelson. Professor, you've spelled Phil Mickelson from class. Well, that's too bad. I get versus they're about the status big time. Well, I think girls are really insecure. I know I had a friend, Annette, in the Ukraine, and I, I I'd go to the Ferrari store to buy her a hat and shirt that said Ferrari on it. She was all excited. Me, I don't care. I don't wear shit that says it, but she did. She liked that it said Polo or Ferrari or Mercedes. She liked walking around going, "Look, I'm wearing a Ferrari hat. I'm wearing a Ferrari shirt." That's how some of the girls are. Yeah, they're very. To me, I don't. I would not do it. I would not buy a Ferrari hat to wear it to say, "Look, I've got a Ferrari hat." That's not going to happen. So, but that's everything's a game and everything you got to understand the rules. So the attack on Wall Street guy didn't understand he could lose. He wasn't taught the game by the broker. Should have said, you know what, if they don't, it's good if they pay their mortgages. If they don't pay their mortgages, you could lose everything. Should have been told to him. The guy would still be alive because this guy's 60,000 no risk should have been in gold. But he doesn't know me, so he can't come to me. So he goes to the broker who only wants his commission. He gets to sells the product for the commission, and the company made a lot of money on it. But the game was not explained to him that if they don't pay the mortgage, it goes to zero and you lose everything. He didn't explain that to him. Why didn't he tell him the whole game? Just like the stock market, if the foreigners pull their 90 trillion out, which they're going to do, the market collapses. Does anybody understand that besides us? No. So these idiots holding Amazon and Google and Tesla and in the treasuries and money in the bank getting 5% in a CD or these T-bills do not understand when the foreigners pull their 90 trillion, they're all fucked. They don't understand the game they're in. They are blindsided. The bank doesn't tell them this. That's the problem. That's why we're out of this. We are out of this because we know what's going to happen. It's going to zero, and anything in it's going to go to zero. So we're the guy on Wall. We're the attack from Wall Street guys in the RIT, but we understand. Wait a minute, the housing market's starting to crash. My RIT's going to go to zero because they don't pay the mortgage. I get fucked. I'm getting out of it, and I go buy gold. That he didn't understand the game. That's what we have to understand. Poker, football, girls, black craps, everything, the banking, we have to understand the whole game. And nobody does because they don't. Madoff didn't explain his game. Oh, well, if I don't get any more money in, you're not going to get paid out. Nobody understood the game of Madoff because he wouldn't tell them. And they just said, well, I keep getting 14%. I don't know how, and I'm too stupid to realize it's a Ponzi scheme. Well, I'm going to give you, Bobby, I'm going to give you 15% a month. Don't ask how. I'm just going to give it to you. And you're going to say, oh, wow, this is great. You're not going to realize it's a Ponzi scheme, that people are giving me money and I'm giving it to you. What do? I walk you through how I pick the game. So the game wins or loses, you know the rationale of the game. That's the whole point of it. I'm teaching you the game. You understand the game. That's what the point is, and nobody understands it. Very random question, but do you eat rice beans, Professor? No, I don't. Intercepted by LSU. Finally, the defense does something. Yeah, Missouri got bored just walking down the field scoring touchdowns. No, I don't eat. When I get the General Chow, it comes with white rice. I don't eat any of it. Once in a while, I'll take a spoonful just for something, but no, I don't. Rice has sugar in it, and I don't eat it. Beans, I won't have baked beans. Sometimes I'll have chili with beans. The beans aren't good for you, but again, in moderation, a little bit is okay. Yesterday, I got a burger, and I was going to get onion rings, and I said, now the problem with frying is they keep frying it all day. So they put something and they fry the onion rings. They take the onion rings out, but they keep the oil still cooking. So they keep reusing the same oil all day. with onion rings and French fries. So by the end of the day, it's been reused 50 times. That's why it's not healthy for you. So I was going to get the ring. She says we change the oil every day, but not after everything. And I said, okay, forget it. And I got a salad. Now I still had sugar salad dressing, I'm sure, but it was a small salad. And then I had a hamburger and I pulled the bun out. I ran out to get gas because I was low, and the gas was cheap. It was $3.25 or something here, and so I ran out of food. I had made my what did I have? Hamburgers, and I finished. I made like 10 hamburgers, so I finished the last one, I think, for lunch. So for dinner, I didn't have anything, so I had a hamburger at this kind of sports bar, so it was okay. And then I was talking to three women there, and I just walk up to them. They're older, and I go, "Well, you look like smart women. Should I eat here? I've never eaten here." And they go, "Yeah, yeah." So even with them, I wasn't playing the game, but they were very friendly and nice to talk to. Of course, what did we talk about? Gold. And I was explaining it, and they were right on with me. They go, "Yep, you're exactly right." So they were gold people, which I was happy to hear from. And then I told them about the fasting, which I think they knew about also. So I think more our age group knows about it and are open minded. The younger people are just scammers who are looking for a free lunch. And that's the problem with the young people today. That's why they don't want to hire. Now, I interviewed Thursday for the job. It's remote, it seems good pay. Senior financial analyst for a cybersecurity company. So it'll be around. She asked me when I can start. So everything seems positive. I was hoping to hear from her tomorrow to set up the interview with the VP, but it didn't happen. So I'm assuming Monday or Tuesday I will hear. If I don't hear by the end of the week, I will email her. Are we still on? Did she say when I can start, but really not mean it? Or the salary we talked about? She says, no, that's fine. So I'm feeling very good that I have a good chance at this new job. So we will see. But I'm not, give it a few days and then see if they set up the interview with the VP. I'm hoping they do, and I get it, and then it's remote, so I can go meet Jenna in Italy or Greece and spend a couple of weeks with her there and have a good time. So that's what's coming up. But that's the whole thing. It's all games. Everything's a game. You got to understand the rules, and nobody understands the rules of gold. Nobody understands the rule of the stock market or even money. Nobody understands that the more you print of it, the less it's worth. And nobody understands the games of inflation. If you print it, you can't raise interest rates and kill the inflation because you've printed the dollar to nothing. It loses value. There's no rule on that. Nobody understands the game. Nobody understands most of the finance games. That's the problem. That's why people go broke. That's why the housing crisis, which was created by Clinton saying, oh, you got to let anybody who wants a house, even if they have no credit or bad credit score or no job, you've got to give them a loan. Who the fuck? What is that? That's not finance. So because of that, that's why the housing market crashed. So if you understood step A to go to step B, you would never bought a real estate trust, which I never did. You ate yellow. I showed you. I ate my avocado. I ate this. I'll probably do a pita and go. The gold store closes at 3, so I think I'll go another 5 minutes, and then I'm off to the gold store to see if they have anything. But it's on the way to the pool, so the pool is on 5 Mile. I'm at 9 miles. The pool is at 5 Mile. The gold store is at 5 Mile. So I will go there and then try to see if they have any gold. Now it'll be all different if I do get this job. If the interview is Monday or Tuesday and I get it, now I can go buy a couple ounces. I can go spend $5,000 on it. Right now I got to be careful because I got to be able to replenish my money, and I can't until gold goes up. Then I don't have to worry about anything. But no, I just had the avocado, so I will, and I've had my coffee, so I'm going to I will have my pita, and I don't really have anything. I'd have to have a salad, but I don't have time to make it. And then Chinese. So I go to swim, and then I go to Chinese, and then I eat the general chow. So we will do all that. I like the Chinese Saturday because I don't have to think about where should I go to eat, or I cook so much that I got chicken legs out. I'm going to make them tomorrow. So it's just you get tired of cooking, and I cook my omelets and everything. You swimming in an indoor Olympic pool? No, I'm in a health club. I'm in a city club, so it's a pretty decent size. I don't think it's Olympic, but it's good. And I'm in this lane that I can run in. It's like up to my neck, so I can run in the pool because I can't. My back hurts me if I walk too much because it compresses. So I can run all I want in the pool and swim a little bit. So that's what I do. Then I hot tub it, and so it's a good workout every day. If I'm aching, it makes all the blood go through, and then I feel much better. Luke, how many ounces of gold will be enough? There is no answer to that, Luke. There is no answer, because if you understand it's a $50,000 an ounce thing, and you can buy it for $2,000, at what point do you not keep buying it? I thought I had enough silver, but at $25 an ounce or $24 an ounce, I'll buy another 20 ounces. I got 600 ounces of it, because there is no enough. Because if we understand the price is fixed by JP Morgan and the derivatives, and we understand the real price is physical, is much, much higher, there's never enough, because it's an automatic. You mean I can buy an ounce of silver for $25 that's worth 2,000? I'll buy another 10. I'll buy another 10. So there's no point in having enough. So with the gold, it's the same thing. You keep buying the gold because at this price, eventually it won't be there and I can't buy it. So I want to buy as much as I can at this price. So I'm looking for quarter ounces and half ounces today. So if I can buy a quarter ounce for $500, which I know is, let's look at 50,000, a quarter ounce will be 12,500. And I can buy it for 500. As long as I have this and I have my job that's giving me good money, as long as I have that, what else am I going to spend my money on? Now, I still take the girls on vacation and I use it for that. But right now, I got a car. It's paid for. I'm renting an apartment. So it's all extra cash for me. I've got so many baseball cards. I don't want that. There's really no other where to go is gold or silver. I don't want to buy a house and lose $100,000, $200,000 on it now. So it's a no-brainer. So I don't want to be in dollars because this is going to zero. So if this goes to zero, I don't want to hold it. But if I'm working and I'm making this money, my only other choice is to buy gold and silver and keep buying it. There is no enough. It's just it's a bargain, and as long as it's going to be a bargain, that's like if I drank this and this was $5 for this bottle. I mean, I would keep buying it, or Coca-Cola or whatever you would drink or eat. I notice you swim every day. That's good stuff. You know what it's good for, Bobby? It's good for your mind. Exercise is good for your brain. It gets the blood flowing, and that's really it's not the body, it's the brain. That's why you should exercise. You fast because it's good for your body, because it cleans your cells out, and that's what you want, that autography to clean your cells. That's why you fast every day, and really to be healthy. I don't smoke because I don't want to put poison in my body. I want to be healthy as long as I can. I got 2 girlfriends I gotta cater to, so I don't want to be sick. I don't want to burden them if I'm sick. So that's what I try to do, is stay healthy for them. I'm healthier than they are. They both have blood pressure issues, but living in Russia and the Ukraine, I can understand why. And they drink a lot because it's cheap, and they don't really. It's different over there because they're not U.S. dollars, so they're currency gets affected by the dollar and the FX rate, and then what they have, they can't afford to eat the way we eat, so they end up eating, eating a little, and then they'll drink. So Jenna just met her friend at the bar, and I'm going to have some drinks, and it's bad for your blood pressure, but she's got to do something, and they don't have as much there. So I understand. Daria does the same. So that's what they're doing. They drink for entertainment. You live in Russia. It's not a happy place. So I understand that. But I try to swim every day, at least running in the pool and hot tubbing. Like now, I don't know if I'll bike today. I will run, and I will go get my Chinese, and I will try to get the sauce on the side so it's not soaked in, or get the other. There's a Hunan chicken, which is chicken and veggies, which won't have the sweet sauce, so I might have to change to that. I really want the General Chow, but I don't know how they make it. I mean, I don't know if it's all in the, the pot has the sauce and the chicken in it, or if the chicken's separate, don't put the sauce in. So maybe I can get it on the side like sweet and sour. I don't know. I'll ask her tonight. But yeah, the swimming, a lot of it is just to get out. I'm in the apartment, so I want to get out. Just go enjoy the day, relax, go to the pool, see some hot girls, and try to do that. So that's what I try to get out, and so it's a good day. I go swim, I go gold shopping, I go get Chinese. So it's a full activity. I like that. I don't like to just sit in the house and veg all day. That would drive me nuts. Anyway, it's 1:30, so it is time to go buy gold. I will report back tomorrow. So figure 11 o'clock tomorrow. The games start at 1. Don't forget Buffalo, Jacksonville at 9:30. It's a very big disadvantage for Buffalo because Jacksonville's been in London the whole week. That has got to make a play in it. Buffalo is not a great road team. They are a strong team. Buffalo gives up 14 a game, and Jacksonville gives up 21. Buffalo is an A team. Jacksonville is an under team. So my score is like 27-14 Buffalo, but it's tough because Jacksonville's been in London the week, so it's could be closer than that. Thank you, Luke. You too. Take care. You're welcome, Bobby. Good luck on LSU. I got to get Oklahoma in. I have 3 locks going today and my lock going tomorrow. So I got to get those in. Those are later, and we will see. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. Have a good day. www.teaserking.com. If you need, you can still play the locks. They haven't started yet. Again, there's a lock tomorrow, and I got some really good pro plays. Just one lock with the college, but you can still bet that. I have it in another play anyway. All right. Thank you very much. Have a great day and take care. All right. See you tomorrow.